Welcome, traveller of the cosmos, to a sanctuary built entirely of starlight and silence. You have arrived at a place where time no longer obeys the ticking of the clock, where the demands of the day dissolve like sugar in warm tea. Here, in this velvet expanse, there is only the rhythm of your own breath and the vast, comforting embrace of the universe. Settle yourself now. Let your eyelids grow heavy, as if gravity is gently tugging them down, sealing you away from the waking world. Adjust your shoulders, let them drop away from your ears, and feel the weight of your body sinking deeper into the surface beneath you. You're safe here. You're held. Imagine, if you will, that you're floating on a raft made of soft, dark clouds, drifting down a river of obsidian water. The current is slow, almost imperceptible, carrying you toward a horizon glowing with a faint violet light. This is the river of knowledge, the stream of healing wisdom that has flowed through humanity since the first fires were lit in ancient caves. Tonight, we simply drift along its surface, dipping our hands into the cool waters to retrieve gleaming stones of truth. There is no test to take, no memory to force. Your only task is to listen, to visualize, and to let these soothing realities wash over you, absorbing them into your subconscious as easily as dry earth drinks the rain. Let go of the shore, let go of the steering, let the current take you. As we embark on this journey, visualize the air around you shimmering with a restorative energy, a mist of calm that enters your lungs with every inhalation and carries away tension with every exhalation. You're becoming lighter, yet more grounded, ready to receive the ancient and modern secrets of how we heal. As you drift deeper into this state of profound rest, consider the miracle taking place within you at this very moment. Picture your body not as a solid object, but as a bustling, microscopic metropolis that comes alive most vibrantly when the city lights of your consciousness go out. It is a known wonder of biology that the most profound healing occurs not when we are striving, but when we are sleeping. Visualize millions of tiny, benevolent workers glowing with a soft, golden luminescence, moving through the corridors of your muscles and the pathways of your mind. While you lie here, suspended in the amber of sleep, your body enters an anabolic state, a phase of construction and repair. Imagine these tiny architects finding the microscopic tears in your muscle fibers, the natural wear and tear of simply existing and moving through gravity. With infinite patience, they knit these fibers back together, making them stronger, denser, and more resilient than they were before. It is a process of silent restoration. You do not feel the stitching, the mending, or the clearing away of cellular debris, but it happens with rhythmic precision. The brain too engages in this nightly wash. Picture a gentle tide of cerebrospinal fluid sweeping through the canyons of your mind, washing away the toxins of the day's thoughts, leaving the shores of your memory clean and pristine. This is why the heavy eyelids you feel right now are a gift. They are the heavy curtains closing so the set changes can be made, preparing you for a new act tomorrow. You're being rebuilt, cell by cell, in the quiet workshop of the night. Drifting further down this dark, starry river, we noticed the water beneath us beginning to glow with a soft internal light, shifting from deep indigo to a warm, radiating amber. This light represents the incredible power of your own belief, a phenomenon often whispered about in medical halls as the placebo effect, but which we shall view as the inner alchemist. Visualize a garden within your mind. In the center of this garden, there is a seed. This seed represents your expectation of healing. When you truly believe that a remedy, a touch, or a rest will help you, your brain releases a cascade of its own natural pharmacy. See this seed sprouting, fueled by nothing but your conviction. Vines of relief grow rapidly, releasing endorphins and dopamine that act as powerful pain relievers, indistinguishable from strong medicine. It is a testament to the fact that your mind is not separate from your body. They are dancers in the same ballet. If you can visualize wellness, if you can truly expect the warmth of recovery, your body begins to synthesize the chemistry to match that vision. It is as if you possess a secret manufacturing plant for healing elixirs, unlocking doors with the key of belief. Picture this golden light spreading from your mind down your spine, illuminating every nerve ending, telling them that help has arrived, simply because you know it has. The power to heal resides not just in the bottle or the bandage, but in the majestic, commanding architecture of your own hope. The river now carries us gently toward a bank lined with ancient, towering trees. We float beneath a canopy of emerald green, where the light filters through the leaves in dappled patterns. The Japanese call this komorebi. We are entering the realm of forest bathing, or shinrin-yoku. Imagine the air here is cool and thick with the scent of pine needles, damp moss, and rich, dark earth. It is a fragrance that feels green in your lungs. This is not merely a poetic setting, it is a biological interaction. As you breathe in this forest air in your mind's eye, visualize tiny organic compounds called phytoncides entering your system. These are the natural oils trees release to protect themselves, and when you inhale them, they become your protectors too. Imagine these green molecules moving through your bloodstream, gently lowering your heart rate, soothing the jagged edges of cortisol, and inviting your immune system to summon its natural killer cells, the defenders of your health. It is a slow, silent communion. You do not need to hike or climb, you only need to be among the trees to let their ancient slow time rhythm synchronize with your own. The forest absorbs your stress and exhales pure oxygenated life. Feel the texture of rough bark under your fingertips and the cushion of pine needles beneath your feet. Here, surrounded by the silent giants, your body remembers that it is part of nature, and in that remembering, it finds its balance again. From the cool, expansive forest, the stream guides us toward a smaller, warmer sanctuary, a cottage with a roaring fire. You float inside, settling into a plush armchair. Curled upon your lap is a small, sleeping creature, a cat vibrating with a deep, rhythmic purr. This sound is more than a comfort. It is a frequency of healing. Visualize sound waves radiating from the small animal, traveling through the air and entering your own body. These are low-frequency vibrations, humming between 20 and 140 hertz. Imagine these sound waves moving through your bones like a gentle massage for your skeleton. It is a scientific curiosity that this specific range of frequency promotes bone density and accelerates the healing of soft tissues and tendons. It is as if the cat is singing a song of structural integrity. Feel the rumble against your chest, a steady mechanical thrum that resonates in your own cavity. It loosens the tightness in your muscles, vibrating away the stiffness. The sound is a loop of contentment, a sonic anchor that holds you in the present moment. In this visualization, you're borrowing the feline ability to heal through rest and vibration. The warmth of the fire and the weight of the cat combine to create a cocoon of safety, where the only thing that matters is the steady healing hum that permeates your very marrow. As the purring fades into a comfortable silence, we drift out of the cottage and see an object resting on a wooden table by the riverbank. It is a ceramic bowl, once broken, but now whole again. The cracks where it shattered are not hidden. Instead, they gleam with liquid gold. This is the art of kintsugi, the golden repair. Pick up the bowl in your mind, feel the cool ceramic and the raised smooth ridges of the gold lacquer. This art form teaches us a profound truth about our own healing, that to be broken is not the end of your utility or your beauty. Visualize your own scars, be they physical marks on your skin or emotional lines on your heart. Now imagine filling those crevices with molten gold. The healing process does not erase the history of the wound, it highlights it, turning a moment of pain into a seam of strength. The bowl is now more valuable and more resilient than it was before it was broken. It has a story. As you hold this image, feel a sense of pride in your own history. Your ability to heal, to knit yourself back together with the gold of experience and time, makes you a masterpiece. You're not damaged goods. You're a vessel laced with gold, stronger at the broken places, shining with the resilience of having survived and mended. The golden light of the bowl reflects off the water as we drift onward, and now we turn our attention inward to the very tide of life moving in your chest. We focus on the vagus nerve, the wandering silver thread that connects your brain to your heart, your lungs, and your gut. Imagine this nerve as a fiber optic cable of relaxation, glowing with a soft blue light. It is the commander of your rest and digest system. To activate this healing commander, we need only to manipulate the wind. Visualize your breath as a slow-moving tide. When you exhale, imagine the tide going out, far out to sea, taking twice as long as it did to come in. This long, slow exhalation is the signal. Watch the blue light of the vagus nerve pulse brighter with every long breath out. It sends a telegram to your heart, telling it to slow its drumbeat. It whispers to your muscles to release their guard. It tells your mind that the tiger is gone, the danger has passed, and it is time to rebuild. With every slow exhale you take right now, you are physically flipping a switch from survival mode to healing mode. You're piloting your own nervous system, steering it into the calm waters of the parasympathetic bay, where the water is glass and the storm cannot reach you. As the internal storm settles, the sky above our dream river begins to change. The stars fade gently to make way for the soft, rosy fingers of dawn. The sun begins to crest over the horizon, painting the world in hues of apricot and gold. We turn our faces toward this light. This is not just illumination, it is medicine. Visualize the sun's rays traveling 93 million miles to touch your skin. As they land, they spark a chemical reaction, a microscopic celebration. Imagine your skin absorbing this light and converting it into vitamin D, a hormone essential for the fortress of your immune system. But more than that, the light enters your eyes and signals the ancient clock deep within your brain. It washes away the melatonin, the residue of sleep, and floods your system with serotonin, the neurotransmitter of happiness and calm. Visualize this sunlight as a golden fluid being poured into the crown of your head, filling you up with warmth and stability. It regulates your rhythm, ensuring that when night comes again, you will rest deeply. But for now, in this visualization, the light heals the shadow. It warms the cold places in your spirit. It reminds your biology that you are a creature of the light, synced with the rotation of the planet, thriving under the benevolent gaze of the star that sustains us all. The warmth of the sun makes us long for the cool embrace of water. You slide off your raft and into a crystal clear turquoise lagoon. The water is perfectly temperate, matching your body heat. You lean back and float, weightless. This is the therapy of buoyancy. Here, gravity has no claim on you. The water takes 90% of your weight, relieving the burden on your joints, your spine, your tired feet. Visualize the water as a supportive gel, wrapping around every curve of your body, holding you up so your muscles can completely let go. There is no need to hold yourself up. The water does it for you. This hydrostatic pressure gently compresses your tissues, encouraging circulation, pushing out swelling, and quieting the noise of the nervous system. The silence underwater is muffled and thick. In this suspension, you're like an astronaut in space or a child in the womb. The pain of heaviness is washed away. You're fluid, you're drifting, and in this weightlessness, your body finds the perfect alignment it struggles to maintain on land. You're unbound, free-floating in a solution of pure relief. And as you float there, a ripple of energy moves through the water, vibrating against your skin. It is the vibration of laughter. Though you are resting now, recall a moment of pure, unbridled joy, a time when you laughed so hard your sides ached and your eyes watered. Visualize this laughter not as a sound, but as a cascade of sparkling bubbles rising within your chest. This is more than just an emotion. It is a biological storm of healing. When you laugh, you're engaging in an internal jog. Your diaphragm spasms, massaging your internal organs. You gulp in massive amounts of oxygen. But most importantly, your brain opens the floodgates for neuropeptides, tiny chemical messengers that fight stress. Imagine these sparkling bubbles hunting down the stress hormones in your blood and popping them, dissolving them instantly. Laughter increases the count of antibodies and activates T cells, priming your immune system for battle. Even in this quiet state, the memory of laughter releases these healing agents. Smile softly in your sleep now, and feel that lightness spreading through you, a reminder that joy is a potent medicine, a release valve that keeps the vessel from breaking, a spark that ignites the body's incredible will to be well. And just as the ripples of laughter settle into a calm, glassy surface, we find that the body has another liquid method of releasing what it no longer needs to carry. We drift now from the sparkling bubbles of joy to the cleansing, saline rain of release. Consider the profound biology of a tear. It is not merely water falling from the eye, it is a physical extraction of sorrow. Imagine a heavy storm cloud darkening a summer sky, holding a pressure that feels almost electric. When the rain finally breaks, the air clears, the pressure drops, and the world feels new. This is exactly what happens within you. Science tells us that emotional tears are chemically distinct from the tears that simply lubricate the eye or flush out a speck of dust. When we weep from emotion, the body is actually purging stress hormones and toxins like manganese from the system. Visualize these microscopic burdens being gathered up by the water in your body, carried to the surface and released. It is an exorcism of chemistry. There is also a natural painkiller found in these tears, a substance called leucinenkephalin. So when you cry, you're quite literally washing yourself in a soothing balm produced by your own biology. Picture yourself standing in a warm, gentle rain, feeling the water run down your face, and knowing that with every drop, a little bit of heaviness is leaving your spirit, flowing back into the earth, leaving you lighter, clearer, and washed clean. From this state of emotional clearing, we drift deeper into the velvet folds of the night, entering the mysterious and vivid theatre of the mind known as REM sleep. Imagine walking into a grand, empty cinema. The lights dim and the screen flickers to life. This is the domain of rapid eye movement, a state of sleep so essential that it is often called emotional first aid. While your body lies in paralysis, safe and still, your brain is frenetically active, sorting through the emotional catalogue of the day. During this specific phase of sleep, the brain shuts down the release of noradrenaline, the molecule responsible for anxiety and stress. It creates a chemically safe environment, a sanctuary where you can process difficult memories or worries without the visceral physical reaction of fear. Visualize your mind taking the sharp, jagged edges of a painful memory and sanding them down, smoothing them over until they are round, manageable stones. It is a nightly therapy session where you're both the patient and the healer. You may wake up feeling that a problem is less daunting, that a hurt is less sharp, not because time has passed, but because in the secret laboratory of your dreams, you have stripped the emotion of its stinging power, turning a storm into a story you can simply observe. As the dream fades and the screen goes dark, we turn our attention to the quiet machinery of the cells themselves. We float into a state of pause, exploring the healing power of emptiness, known to biology as autophagy. Imagine a bustling city that suddenly halts all traffic and commerce for a holiday. In this silence, the street sweepers and repair crews emerge. This is what happens when we fast, even for short periods during sleep. When the constant influx of food stops, the body does not starve. It switches modes from growth to repair. Visualize the inside of a single cell. It is like a tiny cluttered room filled with broken proteins and old worn-out machinery. When the energy from food is low, the cell begins a process of self-eating, which is the literal translation of autophagy. But it is a benevolent consumption. The cell identifies the debris, the damaged parts that might cause illness or aging, and recycles them. It breaks them down and builds new, pristine structures from the scrap. Picture millions of tiny glowing vacuums moving through your system, clearing out the cobwebs, dismantling the junk and polishing the floors. It is a deep cellular spring cleaning that can only happen when the digestive system is at rest. In this stillness, you are being renewed, stripped of the old to make way for the vibrant and the new. Cleaned and renewed from within, our journey takes us now to the very foundation of our existence, the ground beneath us. We drift out of the cellular city and find ourselves walking barefoot on a lush, dew-covered meadow. The earth is cool and damp against your skin. This is the practice of earthing or grounding. We often forget that we are bioelectrical beings, humming with a subtle charge, and the earth itself is a colossal battery, brimming with an endless supply of free electrons. Visualize the moment your bare foot touches the soil or the sand. In that instant, a circuit is completed. Modern life, with its rubber soles and elevated floors, insulates us from this charge, allowing positive ions, free radicals, to build up in our bodies like static electricity, causing inflammation. But the moment you connect, imagine a stream of cooling blue energy, negative electrons flowing up from the center of the planet, through the soles of your feet and spreading like a soothing balm through your tissues. This electrical exchange neutralizes the fire of inflammation. It thins the blood, allowing it to flow more easily. It is as if the earth is reaching up to hold your hand, balancing your internal charge with its own ancient, stable frequency. You're plugged back into the source, anchored and neutralized, letting the excess static of the modern world drain away into the infinite capacity of the ground. With our feet rooted in the earth, our minds are free to reach for the sky, expanding and changing shape like the branches of a growing tree. We turn our gaze to the concept of neuroplasticity. For centuries, it was believed that the adult brain was a fixed structure, like cooling concrete. We now know it is more like soft, living clay. Visualize a dense forest. When you walk the same path every day, the grass is trampled flat and the way becomes easy and wide. This is a habit, a thought pattern, a neural pathway. But healing often requires us to walk a new way. Imagine stepping off the beaten path into the tall green grass. At first, it is difficult. The brush is thick. But as you persist, pushing through the undergrowth with a new thought, a new movement, or a new belief, the path begins to clear. This is your brain physically rewiring itself. Visualize tiny tendrils of neurons reaching out across the gaps, shaking hands with neighbors they have never met before, forming bridges of light. Every time you choose a calming thought over a stressful one, or practice a new skill, you are physically thickening these new cables and letting the old dusty roads of anxiety overgrow and disappear. You are the gardener of your own mind, constantly pruning and planting, capable of reshaping the very landscape of who you are until your last breath. The wind that blows through this neural forest brings us to our next destination, the invisible, rhythmic tide of the breath. But we look deeper now, past the simple in and out, to the molecular dance of oxygen and carbon dioxide. We often demonize carbon dioxide as a waste product, but in the delicate economy of healing, it is the key that unlocks the treasure. Imagine your red blood cells as tiny cargo ships, loaded with crates of precious oxygen, sailing through your arteries. They arrive at a destination, a tired muscle, a healing organ, but they cannot unload their cargo without a permission slip. That permission slip is carbon dioxide. This is the Bohr effect. If you breathe too fast, hyperventilating, you blow off too much CO2, and the ships refuse to drop their cargo. The oxygen stays trapped in the blood and the tissues starve. Now visualize yourself breathing slowly, softly, engaging the diaphragm. As carbon dioxide levels rise slightly to a healthy balance, it signals the hemoglobin to release. Picture the cargo doors opening. A rush of life-giving oxygen floods into the cells that need it most. By slowing your breath, you're not just calming your mind, you're chemically unlocking the energy required for repair, ensuring that every corner of your empire receives the supplies it needs to rebuild. From the airy realm of breath, we descend into the warm, tangible world of touch. We float toward a sensation of being enveloped, safe and secure. Imagine the weight of a heavy blanket or the embrace of a loved one. This pressure is not just a feeling, it is a trigger for the release of oxytocin, often called the love hormone, but perhaps better understood as the healing elixir. Visualize this hormone as a warm golden syrup pouring from the center of your brain, cascading down your spinal cord. When we experience safe, comforting touch, even from a massage or a weighted blanket, this chemical floods the system. It acts instantly to lower blood pressure and dissolve cortisol, but its healing power goes deeper. Oxytocin dampens the pain centers of the brain. It encourages growth and restoration. It tells the amygdala, the brain's alarm bell, that the danger is over. Picture this golden fluid coating your nerves, insulating them from the static of the world. It transforms your physiology from a state of defense to a state of connection. In this embrace, the body realizes it does not have to fight alone, and in that surrender, the energy once used for protection is redirected toward the profound work of healing. This golden warmth merges now with the element from which we all came, water. But we're not looking at the water in a glass, we're visualizing the water within your cells. We drift into the microscopic world again to witness the phenomenon of structured water, or the fourth phase of water. Inside your body, adjacent to the hydrophilic surfaces of your cell membranes, water arranges itself not as a chaotic liquid, but as a hexagonal crystalline lattice, like a liquid crystal. Visualize this water as a perfectly organized fleet of hexagonal honeycombs lining the walls of your cells. This is not just H2O, it is H3O2, a charged, gel-like substance that acts as a battery. It excludes impurities, pushing out toxins and solutes to create a zone of pure, clean potential energy. This structured water facilitates the rapid flow of bioelectricity. It is the conduit for the signals that keep you alive. Imagine drinking a glass of fresh spring water, and as it enters your system, see it organizing itself, lining up like soldiers to protect and energize your cells. It lubricates your joints with a friction-free gel. It folds your proteins into their perfect shapes. You're not just a bag of water. You're a vessel of liquid crystal, ordered and energized, conducting the symphony of life with effortless flow. The energy within this crystalline water begins to vibrate, generating a gentle, rising heat. We move now to the misunderstood healer, fever. We often fear the heat, rushing to cool it down, yet nature does not make mistakes. Visualize your body as a blacksmith's forge. When a threat enters, a virus, a bacteria, the body wisely decides to turn up the thermostat. This heat is not the enemy, it is the weapon. Imagine the internal temperature rising, the forge glowing brighter. Most invaders are fragile. They cannot replicate in this heat. They slow down, becoming sluggish and weak. Meanwhile, your own immune cells, the warriors of the blood, move faster and more efficiently in the warmth. The heat speeds up the metabolic reactions required for repair. It is a strategic inferno. Visualize this warmth radiating from your core, not as a sign of sickness, but as a sign of vigorous, capable defense. It is the fire that burns away the dross, a temporary and controlled burn that purifies the landscape, leaving the soil fertile and free of weeds. You can rest in this warmth, knowing it is the heat of a kiln that hardens the clay, making you stronger. Finally, as the heat subsides, we notice a soft, protective swelling in the areas that have been worked on. This is the biological marvel of inflammation, not the chronic fire that lingers, but the acute, intelligent response to injury. Think of a construction site surrounding a building under repair. There are barriers, red flags, and a bit of congestion. This is the redness and swelling you see. Visualize a rush of fluid carrying white blood cells, nutrients, and growth factors flooding toward a site of need. They create a cushion, a splint made of fluid to immobilize the area so it can rest. The danger signs prevent you from moving too fast, forcing you to give the injury time. It is the body's way of hugging a wound. Imagine these fluids arriving like a relief convoy, dropping off supplies, oxygen, proteins, stem cells, and then packing up the debris to carry it away. It is a bustling, chaotic, yet perfectly orchestrated scene of reconstruction. Once the wall is rebuilt, the trucks leave, the swelling goes down, and the road opens up again. See this process as a sign of active care, a temporary scaffolding erected by your own intelligence to ensure that when the work is done, the structure will stand tall for years to come. And so, we drift on, carried by the current of these truths, deeper into the endless river of well-being. As the necessary swelling of repair subsides and the internal waters calm, we find ourselves drifting toward a concept that seems paradoxical in this land of rest, yet is fundamental to your strength. It is the ancient wisdom of the wind testing the tree, known to science as hormesis. Visualize an ancient oak standing alone on a hillside. It is not the shelter from the wind that makes it strong, but the wind itself. When the gale blows, the tree must flex, its fibers are stretched, its roots forced to grip the earth tighter. This brief, manageable stress signals the tree to build more wood, to thicken its trunk to prepare for the future. This same principle lives within your biology. Your body is designed to thrive not in constant, flat-lined comfort, but in the rhythm of challenge and recovery. Think of the sensation of cold water on your skin, a brief, sharp shock that makes you gasp. In that moment, your body wakes up. It is a good stress. Visualize your cells reacting to this sudden change by igniting their internal furnaces, producing powerful antioxidants, and sweeping away the cobwebs of lethargy. It is the same with the heat of a sauna or the exertion of lifting a heavy weight. These short bursts of intensity are like the blacksmith's hammer striking the hot metal. They do not break you, they temper you. They flip genetic switches that have been dormant, whispering to your DNA that it is time to upgrade the armor. As you lie here in total comfort, know that the resilience you possess was built by every small challenge you have ever overcome. You are the oak that has weathered the storm, and because of the wind, you're unbreakable. From the strength of the oak, we drift inward to the very blueprint that builds it, the double helix of your DNA. But we are not looking at a static set of instructions carved in stone. We are looking at a grand player piano. This is the realm of epigenetics. For a long time, we believed our genes were our destiny, a script written before we were born that could not be changed. But the soft, healing truth is that while the keys of the piano are fixed, you are the player. You choose the melody. Visualize your DNA as a vast library of scrolls. Every scroll contains a different potential outcome: health, vitality, longevity. But not all scrolls are open at the same time. Your lifestyle, your thoughts, your environment, and even the relaxation you're feeling right now, these are the librarians. They decide which scrolls to unroll and read, and which to tie shut and put away. When you choose rest over stress, or nourishment over neglect, you are chemically silencing the genes of disease and amplifying the genes of health. Picture tiny chemical markers, like bookmarks, being placed on the pages of vitality. You're constantly rewriting the expression of your own biology. The music of your life is not a recording. It is a live performance, and with every deep, conscious breath you take tonight, you are playing a chord of harmony, instructing your cells to compose a symphony of repair. Deep within this library of genetic scrolls, at the very tips of the chromosomes, lie the golden caps of youth known as telomeres. Visualize the ends of a shoelace, capped with plastic to keep the threads from unraveling. Telomeres serve the exact same function for your DNA. They protect your genetic data during cell division. As we age, or as we endure chronic stress, these caps can wear down, fraying the edges of our blueprint. But here, in the sanctuary of deep rest, a miracle of maintenance occurs. Imagine a specialized enzyme, like a celestial craftsman, moving through the nucleus of your cells. This is telomerase. Its job is to rebuild these golden tips. Studies have shown that states of deep relaxation, meditation, and peace can actually stimulate this enzyme to work harder. Visualize this craftsman carefully adding fresh material to the protective caps, lengthening them, restoring the buffer against time. It is as if you are turning back the internal clock, grain by grain. The fraying stops, the structure is reinforced. By simply sinking into this ocean of calm, you are preserving the integrity of your cells, telling your body that there is no need to rush, no need to wither. You're extending the timeline of your vitality, protecting the precious threads of your existence with a shield of golden silence. Leaving the nucleus, we expand our view to the intricate shimmering web that holds your entire form together. This is the fascia, the connective tissue. Imagine wearing a suit made of the finest, most glistening silk, woven in a continuous piece from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. It wraps around every muscle, sheathes every bone, and cradles every organ. It is a liquid crystalline matrix, a superconductor of energy and information. In the waking world, stress and stillness can cause this silk to dry out, to become sticky and matted, creating knots and tension. But as you drift in the currents of sleep, imagine the hydration returning to this web. Visualize water, fresh, warm, and lubricating, flowing into the fibers of the fascia. The sticky adhesions dissolve. The silk becomes smooth and gliding again. This tissue is piezoelectric, meaning it generates electricity under pressure and movement, but in rest, it reorganizes. Feel the sensation of this internal suit loosening, the tightness in your lower back, the stiffness in your neck. Imagine it melting as the fascia rehydrates, becoming supple and elastic. You're not a collection of separate parts glued together. You're a tense-gritty structure, a masterpiece of suspension and tension. As the fascia relaxes, your whole structure aligns, floating in a perfect, frictionless equilibrium. Flowing through this silken web is a river that moves without a heart to pump it. We drift now along the silent canals of the lymphatic system. Unlike the blood, which rushes with the beat of the heart, the lymph is a slow, passive tide that relies on the movement of your breath and muscles to flow. It is the body's sanitation department, a clear, watery network that collects toxins, waste, and unwanted invaders from the tissues. Visualize this system as a series of pristine Venetian canals winding through the city of your body. During the day, gravity and stillness can cause the waters to stagnate. But now, as you lie horizontal, the gravity is neutralized. The valves open. With the deep rhythmic rise and fall of your diaphragm as you breathe, you create a vacuum that pulls the lymph fluid upward and onward. Picture the clear water washing through the lymph nodes, the filtration stations, where it is purified. This is a gentle hydraulic cleansing. Every slow exhale acts as a pump, moving the stagnant waters out, carrying away the debris of the day. You're flushing the system simply by lying still and breathing deeply. The river runs clear, the channels are open, and the internal environment is being scrubbed clean, leaving your tissues pristine and ready for a new day. As the waters clear, we become aware of a rhythmic pulsing, not just of blood, but of energy. We center our attention on the heart, but not merely as a pump. We see it as a generator of a massive electromagnetic field. This is the concept of heart coherence. Science reveals that the heart generates the largest electromagnetic field in the body, extending several feet outside your chest in a torus shape, like a giant invisible donut of energy surrounding you. When we are stressed or afraid, this field becomes jagged and chaotic, like a radio tuned between stations. But in this state of gratitude and peace, the field becomes coherent. Visualize smooth, harmonious waves radiating from your heart center, syncing perfectly with the waves of your brain. It is a state of biological entrainment. When your heart beats in a smooth, coherent rhythm, it sends a signal of safety to every cell in your body, and even to the people around you. Imagine this field expanding, a bubble of golden light that acts as a shield and a transmitter. You're broadcasting a signal of peace. In this bubble, your immune system functions at its peak, your intuition heightens, and your body enters a state of high-efficiency healing. You are literally tuning your instrument to the frequency of love, and the universe hums in resonance with you. This resonance extends beyond your own field, reaching out to connect with others through the marvel of mirror neurons. Have you ever watched someone sleep and felt your own eyelids grow heavy? Or seen a smile and felt the urge to smile yourself? This is the work of mirror neurons, cells in the brain that dissolve the barrier between me and you. They allow us to experience the world through others. In the context of healing, this is profound. It means that simply visualizing wellness or observing peace creates that same reality within your own neural pathways. Imagine watching a master healer at work, or seeing a landscape of perfect, untouched serenity. As you visualize these things, your mirror neurons fire as if you are truly there, as if you are the one being healed. You can borrow the calm of a sleeping ocean. You can mimic the strength of a mountain. Your brain does not distinguish between the act and the vivid visualization of the act. So, as we drift through these peaceful images, know that your brain is rehearsing the state of perfect health. It is mirroring the calm of the cosmos, learning the script of tranquility so it can perform it effortlessly within your own body. You're a biological empathy machine, capable of healing simply by witnessing the existence of peace. The rhythm of this peace begins to slow down the very electrical pulses of your brain, guiding us into the realm of brainwave entrainment. Throughout the day, your brain vibrates in the rapid-fire frequency of beta waves, alert, analytical, sometimes anxious. But healing requires a shift in gears. We must downshift into the slow, rolling hills of alpha and theta waves. Visualize your brain waves as the surface of a lake. In the beta state, the lake is choppy, whipped by the winds of worry. Now, imagine a metronome ticking slowly, or the sound of a slow, steady drum beat. Your brain naturally wants to synchronize with this rhythm. This is the frequency-following response. As the beat slows, the waves on the lake smooth out. We drift from the choppy waters into the long, lazy swells of alpha, the state of daydreaming and light relaxation. Then we sink deeper into the twilight waters of theta, the borderland of sleep and creativity, where profound emotional healing occurs. And finally, we aim for delta, the deep, slow ocean floor of dreamless sleep. Feel your mind slowing down, matching the pace of the universe. There is no urgency here. The slower the frequency, the deeper the repair. You're tuning the radio of your mind to the station of restoration, where the static clears and only the pure signal of silence remains. In this clear signal, we begin to see patterns forming behind our closed eyes. Patterns that look like ferns, coastlines, or the branching of veins. We are exploring the healing power of biophilia and fractals. Our eyes and brains are evolutionarily hardwired to find comfort in the patterns of nature. These are fractals, complex geometric shapes that repeat at every scale. A tree branch looks like a small tree. A river delta looks like a vein. Modern architecture, with its straight lines and sharp corners, is hard for the brain to process. It requires energy. But nature's fractals are fluently processed. They fit into our visual cortex like a key in a lock. Visualize a fern unfurling in slow motion. See the jagged, repetitive edge of a coastline meeting the sea. Staring at these patterns, even in your mind's eye, induces a state of soft fascination. It rests the attention centers of the brain. It lowers cortisol. It feels like coming home. Your biology recognizes these shapes because you are made of them. Your lungs are fractals. Your circulatory system is a fractal. By visualizing these natural geometries, you're aligning your inner world with the outer world, reducing the friction of existence and allowing your mind to rest in the familiar beauty of nature's design. Finally, we arrive at the source of all potential, the genesis point within your own marrow, the stem cells. Deep inside your bones, in the darkest, most protected sanctuaries of your body, these cells lie in wait. They are the blank canvas of life, the unwritten pages. They have no specific identity yet. They are simply pure potential. When the body sends out a distress signal, a tissue that needs repair, a bone that needs knitting, a heart that needs strengthening, these cells awaken. Visualize them as shimmering orbs of white, iridescent light. They detach from the marrow and enter the bloodstream, travelling like knights to the kingdom's edge. When they arrive at the site of injury, a transformation occurs. They decide to become exactly what is needed. They morph into muscle, into skin, into nerve. They are the ultimate shapeshifters, the physical manifestation of hope. In this deep state of sleep, the release of these cells is optimized. Visualize this fountain of youth springing from within your bones, circulating through your body, seeking out the old and the worn, and replacing it with fresh new life. You carry within you a reserve of endless renewal, a biological magic that ensures no matter the wear of the day, you have the raw materials to build a new you by morning. And as these points of light circulate through the endless river of your being, we drift further, carried by the certainty that your body knows exactly how to heal. And as that shimmering potential of the stem cells circulates through the rivers of your blood, we drift gently from the internal light of the marrow into the soothing, necessary embrace of the shadow. We turn our inner gaze toward the center of your brain, to a tiny, pine cone-shaped sanctuary known as the pineal gland. This is the keeper of your internal sunset. As the light of the outside world fades, this gland begins its sacred work, transforming the serotonin of the day into the melatonin of the night. Visualize this chemical transition as a soft purple mist rising within the landscape of your mind. It is often called the hormone of darkness, but do not mistake darkness for emptiness. In this context, darkness is a blanket, a shield. Melatonin is not merely a sleep aid. It is a powerful antioxidant, a scavenger that hunts down free radicals while you dream. Imagine this mist sweeping through your cells, cooling the fires of oxidation, neutralizing the rust of biological stress. It is a chemical lullaby that tells every organ in your body that the time for exertion has passed and the time for restoration has begun. As you lie here, bathed in the dim light of your room, you are allowing this mist to thicken, coating your consciousness in a layer of protection, inviting the deep, heavy sweetness of a sleep that heals. This chemical signal of the night is the conductor of a much larger orchestra, a symphony of timing known as your circadian rhythm. We often think of time as a number on a clock, but your body knows time as a physical position of the sun and the moon. Deep within your brain, in the suprachiasmatic nucleus, sits the master clock. But the wonder lies in the fact that this master clock is not alone. Science has discovered that nearly every single cell in your body, from the cells in your liver to the cells in your skin, possesses its own tiny molecular wristwatch. Visualize your body as a galaxy of billions of stars, and each star is ticking in perfect unison with the rotation of the Earth. When you honor this rhythm, going to rest when the world is dark and rising when it is bright, you're bringing this galaxy into alignment. Imagine the gears of these billions of clocks locking into place, turning smoothly together without friction. This synchronization allows your liver to detoxify at the precise moment your gut is resting. It allows your temperature to drop exactly when your brain needs to cool. You're not separate from the planet's rotation. You are a biological mirror of it. Feel the comfort of this synchronization, a massive, silent gear turning slowly in the dark, carrying you effortlessly through the phases of the night. Following the rhythm of these clocks, we drift downward from the brain into the deep, fertile darkness of the abdomen, exploring the concept of the microbiome. We often think of ourselves as a single individual, but in truth, you are a vast walking ecosystem, a coral reef of life. Within your digestive tract lives a garden of trillions of benevolent bacteria, a universe of flora that works tirelessly for your well-being. This is your second brain. Visualize this internal garden. It is warm, dark, and rich with life. These tiny organisms are the chemists of your mood. It is a startling fact that 90% of your body's serotonin, the happiness molecule, is not manufactured in your head, but here in the gut by these microscopic gardeners. Imagine them taking the fibers of the food you've eaten and fermenting them into short-chain fatty acids, nutrients that nourish the lining of your gut and quell inflammation throughout your entire system. They communicate with your brain via the vagus nerve, sending signals of satiety and calm. As you rest, visualize this garden blooming in the dark, a symbiotic paradise where your smallest inhabitants are busy synthesizing the very chemicals that allow you to feel joy and peace. You are never alone. You are a host to a legion of helpers. From the rich soil of the gut, we follow the vapors of breath back up to the nasal passages, discovering the hidden power of nitric oxide. This is not the laughing gas of the dentist, but a miracle molecule produced in the paranasal sinuses. It is a vasodilator, a biological key that opens the doors of your blood vessels. But here is the secret. This gas is produced most abundantly when you breathe through your nose, and even more so when you hum. Visualize the air entering your nostrils, swirling through the turbinates, the spiral shelves inside your nose. As the air passes over these mucous membranes, it picks up this nitric oxide, carrying it down into the lungs like a precious cargo. When it reaches the alveoli, the tiny air sacs, this molecule signals the blood vessels to relax and widen. Picture the rivers of your blood expanding, the banks widening to allow a smooth, effortless flow of oxygen and nutrients to every corner of your empire. It lowers your blood pressure, it sterilizes the air you breathe, and it signals the nervous system to enter a state of safety. With every slow, silent inhalation through your nose right now, you're synthesizing this gas, widening the pathways of life within you, turning a narrow stream into a broad, rolling river of vitality. The image of that rolling river guides us to the water's edge, where we encounter an ancient submerged memory, the mammalian dive reflex. This is a genetic superpower we share with whales, seals, and dolphins. It is a reflex that triggers instant calm, designed to preserve life when we go underwater. But we do not need to dive into the ocean to find it. We only need the sensation of cool water on the face. Imagine you are leaning over a pristine glacial pool. You cup your hands and splash the cold, fresh water onto your face, covering your eyes and nose. In that split second, a signal travels from the trigeminal nerve in your face directly to the vagus nerve. Your heart rate immediately slows down. Your blood is shunted from your extremities to your vital organs, preserving heat and oxygen. It is a physiological hard reset. Even in your imagination, the sensation of that cool wetness signals your body to drop into a state of metabolic conservation. The noise of the mind is silenced by the shock of the cold, leaving behind a profound stillness. You're tapping into an evolutionary legacy, a switch installed deep in your brainstem that turns off panic and turns on a deep, aquatic serenity. Floating in this aquatic serenity, we expand our view to the horizon, where the sky meets the sea. This brings us to the concept of blue mind. Science tells us that the human brain has a profound, almost sedative reaction to the colour blue and the sight of water. For our ancestors, water meant survival, a path for travel and a source of food. Seeing it triggered a release of dopamine and a reduction in stress. Visualize yourself sitting on a white sand beach, looking out at an endless expanse of turquoise water. The colour itself is a frequency of healing. Blue light, in the right context, calms the sympathetic nervous system. But it is the soft fascination of the water that heals, the way the waves repeat but are never exactly the same. This holds your attention without demanding effort, allowing the focused, tired part of your brain to go offline. Imagine the visual static of your life, the screens, the traffic, the clutter, being washed away by this wall of blue. It creates a psychological space, a sense of roominess in your mind. You're looking at the edge of the world, and in that vastness your problems shrink to their proper size, dissolved in the solvent of the great, blue deep. The breeze blowing off this imaginary ocean carries a scent, the smell of rain falling on dry earth, known as petrichor. This brings us to the olfactory connection. The sense of smell is the only sense that bypasses the thalamus, the brain's relay station, and goes directly to the amygdala and hippocampus, the centers of emotion and memory. This is why a scent can instantly transport you back in time. Visualize a scent that embodies safety for you. Perhaps it is the lavender of a garden, the vanilla of a kitchen, or the clean, crisp scent of pine. As you inhale this imaginary fragrance, visualize the molecules traveling up your nose and unlocking a cabinet of soothing neurochemistry. Aromatherapy is not just pleasant, it is pharmacological. Certain terpenes found in lavender, for instance, interact with GABA receptors in the brain, the same receptors targeted by anti-anxiety medication. Imagine breathing in the scent of a calm, rainy forest. The smell itself is a chemical key, turning the lock of your nervous system, opening the door to a room where anxiety cannot enter. You're inhaling peace, quite literally, letting the ancient language of scent tell your body that you are home. Deep within that feeling of being at home, within the architecture of your brain, a quiet construction crew is at work wrapping your nerves in a substance called myelin. This is the white matter of the brain. Visualize a copper wire. If it is bare, the electricity leaks, the signal is weak and slow. But if you wrap that wire in thick rubber insulation, the signal travels instantly, without loss. Myelin is that insulation. Every time you practice a thought of gratitude, or practice the skill of relaxation, you're signaling your brain to wrap those specific neural pathways in myelin. But here is the secret. The actual wrapping happens largely while you sleep. Visualize a specialized cell, like an octopus, gently reaching out and wrapping layers of this white, fatty insulation around the nerves you use today. If you focused on calm today, tonight your brain is cementing that calm, turning a dirt road into a superhighway. You're physically building the infrastructure of a more peaceful mind. Sleep is the construction phase. Trust that as you lie here, the skills of happiness and health are being hardwired into you, layer by layer, so that tomorrow, peace will come to you faster and more naturally than it did today. While the builders wrap the important connections, another team of gardeners is busy with the art of synaptic pruning. The brain is an energy-expensive organ, and it cannot sustain every stray thought or useless memory you accumulated during the day. To heal and learn, it must forget. This is the use it or lose it principle in action, but it is a gentle, necessary loss. Visualize the microglia, the tiny caretakers of the brain. They move through the dense forest of your neural connections while you sleep, identifying the weeds, the weak connections, the trivial worries, the fleeting stresses that do not serve you. With microscopic precision, they snip these connections. They prune back the overgrowth to allow the strong branches, the memories of love, the skills of survival, the pathways of wisdom to flourish. It is a nightly uncluttering. Feel a sense of relief knowing that you do not have to carry everything. Your brain is wise enough to let go of the static, clearing the space so that your mind remains a cultivated garden rather than a chaotic tangle. You're being refined, simplified, and sharpened in the quiet dark. Finally, the pruned and open space of your mind allows you to look up and take in the vastness of the cosmos, triggering the biology of awe. Awe is not just a poetic feeling, it is a potent anti-inflammatory. Studies show that people who experience wonder, whether from looking at the stars, a grand cathedral, or a stunning landscape, have lower levels of cytokines, the markers of inflammation in the blood. Visualize yourself lying on a grassy hill staring up at the Milky Way. The sheer scale of the galaxy stretches above you, a river of diamond dust against the void. In the face of this enormity, the concept of the self begins to shrink. This is the small self effect. As your ego becomes smaller, so do your worries. The nagging voice of rumination falls silent because it cannot compete with the grandeur of the universe. This psychological shift calms the immune system. The body stops attacking itself. Feel the tension leaving your chest as you realize you're a tiny, integral part of something infinite. You're stardust contemplating stardust. Let this sensation of awe wash over you like a cool wind, blowing out the flames of inflammation, leaving you humbled, connected, and profoundly healed by the simple act of looking up. From this sensation of vastness, where you are but a speck of conscious stardust floating in the infinite theatre of the night, we turn our gaze inward to discover that you do not merely reflect the light of the stars, you generate it. We drift now into the ethereal reality of biophotons. It was once thought to be a poetic metaphor to say that a human being glows, but science has revealed this to be a literal biological fact. Every living cell in your body contains ultra-weak photon emissions, a faint bioluminescent light that radiates from your DNA. Visualize yourself not as a solid form of flesh and bone, but as a constellation of trillions of tiny glimmering candles. This light is too faint for the naked eye to see, 1,000 times weaker than the sensitivity of our retina, but it is there, vibrating in the visible spectrum, fluctuating between blue and green. This internal light is not accidental. It is a form of communication. Your cells are signaling to one another using these packets of light, orchestrating the complex dance of metabolism and repair. Imagine that as you sink deeper into relaxation, this internal glow becomes coherent, like a laser. When we are stressed, the light is chaotic and dim, but in this state of deep rest, your biophotons synchronize. You're literally beaming. Picture this soft, living light radiating from your chest, your hands, your forehead, pushing back the shadows of fatigue, illuminating the microscopic corridors of your body with the pure, self-generated energy of life. You are a lighthouse to yourself, burning with a clean, cold fire that consumes nothing but sustains everything. As we follow the path of this light through the dense forests of your tissue, we arrive at a newly discovered ocean hidden just beneath the surface of your skin. For centuries, anatomists missed this structure, thinking the layers of the body were packed tight. We now know of the interstitium. Imagine a vast, interconnected network of fluid-filled compartments, a lattice of strong collagen bundles supporting a layer of flowing liquid. It is a shock absorber, a highway, and a cushion all in one. Visualize your skin not as a wrapping paper, but as the surface of a deep microscopic sea. Beneath it lies this honeycomb of fluid, a dynamic, open space that connects every organ to every other organ. It is the largest organ in your body, yet it is made mostly of space and water. As you drift here, imagine that every time you move or breathe, you are squishing and releasing these fluid-filled sponges. This movement pumps vital fluids, electrolytes, and immune cells to where they are needed most. In this stillness, the pressure in the interstitium equalizes. The fluid settles into a calm, nutritive bath that surrounds your muscles and nerves. You're floating within yourself. This internal suspension system protects your delicate tissues from the harshness of the world, cradling your organs in a soft hydraulic embrace that ensures that no matter the impact of the day, your core remains cushioned and safe. The fluid in this hidden ocean responds to the subtle tides of your breath, but there is a specific rhythm to the air you breathe that acts as a metronome for your nervous system. We bring our awareness to the nasal cycle. You may think you are breathing through both nostrils equally, but at any given moment your body is intelligently favouring one side. This is the ultradian rhythm of the nose, a cycle that shifts every 90 minutes to 2 hours, governed by the swelling of erectile tissue in your nasal turbinates. Visualize the air entering your left nostril. In the ancient yogic traditions, and now confirmed by neuroscience, the left nostril is connected to the right hemisphere of the brain, the side of creativity, intuition, and cooling calm. When the left nostril is open and dominant, your parasympathetic nervous system is engaged. Your heart rate slows, your body temperature drops. It is the moon breath. Now imagine the cycle shifting. the air flowing freely through the right nostril, activating the left brain, the side of logic, action, and heat. It is the sun breath. As you lie here, simply observe the flow. By acknowledging this cycle, you align with the body's natural method of balancing its hemispheres. You're constantly oscillating between rest and activity, cooling and warming, moon and sun. Trust that your body knows exactly which side needs to be open right now to guide you into the deepest chambers of sleep. And sometimes, the body requires a mechanical reset, a way to offload the weight of the air itself. We drift now to the phenomenon of the physiological sigh. This is not a sigh of sadness, but a reflex of rescue. Deep in the lungs, there are millions of tiny air sacs called alveoli. They are like wet balloons. Sometimes, under stress or fatigue, they collapse and stick together, preventing oxygen from entering. Visualize these tiny, deflated balloons waiting for a gust of wind. The physiological sigh is a double inhale, 2 sharp intakes of breath followed by a long, slow exhale. The first inhale fills the lungs. The second, shorter inhale pops these sticky alveoli open, reinflating the entire surface area of your lungs. Then, the long exhale offloads the buildup of carbon dioxide. Imagine doing this now in your mind. A deep breath, a pause, a sip more of air, and then a long pouring out of breath. Feel the immediate mechanical relief. It is a biological reset button. It tells the brain that the threat is gone. It creates a sudden, drastic drop in autonomic arousal. It is the body's way of stepping out of the pressurized cabin of stress and into the open, fresh air of tranquility, manually overriding the alarm system with a simple, pneumatic maneuver. As the physical alarm quiets, a chemical peace begins to dust the landscape of your brain. We enter the realm of GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid. If the waking world is a storm of electrical activity, fueled by the excitatory chemical glutamate, then GABA is the shelter. It is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter of the human brain. Visualize this molecule as fine, glittering dust settling over a busy city. Where it lands, the lights go out, the noise ceases, and the machinery stops. GABA binds to the receptors on your neurons and changes their shape, making it difficult for them to fire a signal. It locks the door against the chaos. It is the body's natural Valium. As you drift deeper, imagine this inhibitory dust sprinkling over the cortex, quieting the voices of planning, worrying, and remembering. It silences the static, the noise of the day, the conversations, the traffic, the demands, is chemically dampened, replaced by a soft, fuzzy silence. This is not a shutdown, it is a tuning out. It creates the necessary void in which your system can recharge, protecting your neurons from the burnout of constant firing, wrapping your consciousness in a heavy, comfortable blanket of chemical inhibition. In this profound silence, something miraculous begins to grow. We tend to think of the brain as a static organ, losing cells as we age, but we now know the truth of adult neurogenesis. Specifically, in a region called the hippocampus, the seat of memory and emotion, silence is the fertilizer for new life. Science has shown that periods of silence, absent of input and noise, stimulate the development of fresh precursor cells. Visualize a garden in the center of your mind. For years, we thought this garden stopped blooming in childhood, but now we see green shoots breaking through the soil. These are new neurons, baby brain cells, born from the quiet. They are reaching out, forming fresh connections, ready to encode new memories and new skills. The quiet you're experiencing right now is not passive, it is constructive. By depriving your brain of the chaotic noise of the world, you're giving it the resources to build. Imagine these new cells integrating into your network, strengthening your resilience, preparing you to learn and adapt. You're physically regrowing your mind, tending to the garden of your intellect and emotion, simply by allowing the silence to wash over you like a nourishing rain. The temperature of this garden is carefully regulated, and sometimes the body uses a surprising mechanism to cool the soil. We drift to the misunderstood reflex of yawning. Often dismissed as a sign of boredom or tiredness, a yawn is actually a sophisticated thermal regulation system. The brain is a computer that runs hot. It consumes a massive amount of energy and generates significant heat. To function optimally and to transition into sleep, it must cool down. Visualize the act of a deep, stretching yawn. As your jaw opens wide, the muscles in your face contract and relax, increasing blood flow to the skull. Simultaneously, you inhale a large gulp of cool air. This air rushes over the network of blood vessels in your mouth and throat, cooling the blood before it travels up to the brain. It is like a radiator fan turning on. Imagine a wave of cool, refreshing fluid washing over your cortex, lowering the thermal temperature of your mind. This cooling promotes mental efficiency and alertness upon waking, but right now, it signals the transition into the hibernation state. Embrace the sensation of the yawn. Feel the stretch in your eardrums, the watering of your eyes, and the cooling wave that follows. It is the engine venting its heat, preparing to power down for the night's maintenance cycle. Deep beneath the cooling brain, inside the fortress of your skeleton, another law of physics is at work strengthening your frame. We return to the bones, but specifically to the principle of Wolff's law and the piezoelectric effect. Your bones are not dead stone, they are living crystal. They are composed of collagen and hydroxyapatite, a mineral structure that generates electricity when compressed. Visualize the activities of your day, every step you took, every weight you lifted. These actions placed a load on your bones, slightly bending the crystal lattice. This bending created a tiny electrical charge, a spark of lightning in the mineral. This spark is a signal. It calls out to the builder cells, the osteoblasts, telling them exactly where to add more density. "Build here," the lightning says. "We need strength here." Now, in the stillness of sleep, the builders answer the call. They lay down new mineral deposits along the lines of stress. Your bones are becoming denser, thicker, and more resilient exactly where you need them to be. The burden of the day is being transmuted into the strength of tomorrow. You're an anti-fragile creature. The very weight of the world makes you stronger, provided you take this time to rest and let the builders do their work. But you're not just built of your own cells. As we look closer at the mosaic of your biology, we discover the hauntingly beautiful phenomenon of microchimerism. We are not singular beings. We are multitudes. Science has discovered that cells from our mothers, and for mothers, cells from their children, cross the placenta and take up residence in the body, living there for decades, sometimes forever. Visualize these tiny traveler cells migrating through your blood. They are genetic ambassadors from your lineage. They have been found in the heart, repairing tissue after injury. They have been found in the brain, weaving themselves into the neural network. You are literally carrying the physical presence of those who came before you and those you have brought into the world. You're a tapestry woven from the threads of your family. In this moment of healing, imagine these foreign but friendly cells working alongside your own, offering their strength, their immunity, and their vitality. You're supported by a biological legacy that transcends time. You're never truly alone in your body. You're a sanctuary for the generations, protected and healed by the living remnants of love that flow through your veins. This flow of life, from the cellular to the ancestral, moves in waves, not in a straight line. We finally drift to the concept of ultradian rhythms. We know the circadian rhythm of the 24-hour day, but within that great circle, there are smaller waves crashing on the shore of your consciousness. Every 90 minutes, your body moves through a cycle of high energy to low energy. In the day, this manifests as alertness followed by a dip in focus, a need for coffee or a break. But at night, this rhythm continues as the architecture of your sleep. Visualize a boat on the ocean. Every 90 minutes, a large swell lifts the boat up and then gently lowers it down. You're riding these swells now. You drift down into deep, non-REM sleep, the restorative abyss, and then ride the wave up to the lighter, dream-filled REM sleep. This cycle repeats, over and over throughout the night. It is the heartbeat of your rest. You do not need to steer the boat. The tide is inevitable and reliable. If you wake in the night, know that you are simply at the crest of a wave, and soon gravity and rhythm will pull you back down into the trough of deep rest. Surrender to the oscillation, the ancient rocking motion of your biology, carrying you through the stages of healing with the predictability of the tide. As we surrender to the inevitable rise and fall of these internal tides, we become aware of the atmosphere that surrounds this oceanic movement. Where the water crashes against the shore, or where a waterfall tumbles onto the rocks, a mist is created. This brings us to the invisible, electric medicine of negative ions. In our modern, concrete-enclosed lives, the air is often filled with positive ions, molecular structures stripped of electrons by pollution, screens, and air conditioning. These positive ions can make us feel heavy, lethargic, and mentally foggy, like walking through a cloud of invisible dust. But here, by the imaginary water's edge, the air is different. Visualize the moment a water droplet shatters against stone. In that violent beauty, electrons are liberated. They attach to oxygen molecules, creating negative ions, the vitamins of the air. This is the Leonard effect. Breathe in this charged air now. Taste its metallic freshness, like the scent of the world after a thunderstorm. Science tells us that when these negative ions enter the bloodstream, they produce biochemical reactions that increase levels of the mood chemical serotonin. They act as microscopic scrubbers, clearing the air of allergens and dust, but also clearing the mind of its static. Imagine these ions as millions of tiny energetic sparks entering your lungs, energizing your cells and thinning the blood. The heaviness of the head lifts. You're inhaling the same energy that exists at the base of a roaring waterfall or in the midst of a pine forest. It is a biological recharge, an invisible infusion of vitality that leaves you feeling scrubbed clean from the inside out. With our minds cleared by the charged air, our eyes begin to soften, losing their hard focus on the details of the world. We drift into the healing state of panoramic vision. In the waking world, we spend most of our time in foveal vision, a sharp, laser-like focus on screens, text, and immediate tasks. This narrow focus is biologically linked to the sympathetic nervous system. It is the vision of the hunter or the hunted locking onto a target or a threat. It signals the brain to be alert, to be tense, to be ready. But to heal, we must widen the lens. Visualize yourself standing on a high cliff, looking out over a vast green valley that stretches to the horizon. Do not look at a specific tree or rock. Instead, let your gaze soften and spread until you can see the far left and the far right of your periphery at the same time. This is soft eyes. The moment you engage this panoramic view, you are physically signaling your brainstem that you're safe. There are no tigers in the bushes, there is only the open land. This shift in vision mechanically engages the parasympathetic nervous system. The muscles behind your eyes relax, the breathing drops into the belly. By simply expanding your view to take in the whole picture, you're turning off the stress response. You're no longer zooming in on the problem, you're floating in the solution, embraced by the wideness of the world. As your gaze widens and your body senses safety, we travel down from the eyes, through the chest, to the very core of your physical being, where we find the psoas muscle. Often called the muscle of the soul, this deep snake-like tissue connects your upper body to your lower body, attaching the spine to the legs. It is the primary hip flexor, but it is also the storehouse of primal emotion. In the ancient language of survival, when danger appears, the psoas is the first to contract. It pulls you into a fetal ball, protecting your soft underbelly and vital organs. It is the curling reflex. But in our modern lives, where stress is constant, this muscle often never gets the signal to uncurl. It holds the memory of every fight or flight moment you didn't fully process. Visualize this muscle now, deep within your hips, like a tight coil of rope. As you lie here, fully supported and safe, Imagine that coil beginning to loosen. Picture a block of ice in your warm center melting into water. As the psoas releases, your lower back settles closer to the earth. Your diaphragm is given room to move. You're physically letting go of the need to protect yourself. You are unfurling. This release is not just mechanical, it is emotional. You're draining the reservoir of old fears, allowing your body to lengthen and occupy its full space in the world, unburdened by the ghosts of past tension. To fully encourage this release, the body has a built-in software reset known as pandiculation. We often confuse this with simple stretching, but it is something far more profound. Watch a cat wake from a nap. It does not just pull on its muscles, it engages them, creates a tremor of tension, and then slowly, deliciously releases them. This is the yawn of the musculoskeletal system. When we hold tension for a long time, our brain forgets how to let go. This is called sensory motor amnesia. Pandiculation is the reminder. Visualize yourself reaching your arms overhead, but instead of just pulling, you actively tighten your shoulders, your back, your legs, creating a peak of controlled tension. And then, with a slow, melting exhale, you release it all completely. This resets the gamma loop feedback system that controls muscle tone. It tells the brain, see, we can be tight, but we can also be loose. It is a recalibration. Imagine this wave of engagement and release traveling down your spine. It is the body waking up to its own ability to be soft. It restores the communication between the commander in the brain and the soldiers in the muscles, ensuring that no part of you is holding onto armor that you no longer need to wear. Once the body is reset and fluid, it seeks a rhythm to maintain this balance. We find this in the therapeutic power of bilateral stimulation. This is the healing rhythm of walking, of drumming, or of moving the eyes back and forth. It is the alternating activation of the left and right hemispheres of the brain. Evolutionarily, we processed our trauma while moving forward, walking away from danger, migrating to new lands. Visualize yourself walking on a rhythmic path. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. This steady, alternating beat is a powerful lullaby for the amygdala, the brain's fear center. When the brain is stimulated bilaterally, it enters a processing mode. It takes the stuck memories, the loops of worry, and moves them across the bridge between the hemispheres, integrating them, digesting them. It turns a screaming memory into a quiet fact. You do not even need to walk to feel this. You can simply tap your fingers alternately on your thighs, or listen to music that pans gently from one ear to the other. It is the sound of moving on. In this sleep state, imagine that rhythm rocking you. You're processing the day not by analyzing it, but by walking through it, leaving the heavy baggage by the side of the road as you continue your steady, rhythmic journey toward peace. As we walk this internal path, we realize we do not have to walk it alone. We reach out and find the stabilizing presence of another. This brings us to the biology of co-regulation. We are social mammals, and our nervous systems are not closed loops. They are open, wireless networks designed to sync with others. This is why a parent holding a crying child calms them down, not just through words, but through the transmission of calm. Visualize holding the hand of someone you trust and love. It could be a partner, a parent, or a dear friend. In the moment your skin touches theirs, a biological circuit is closed. Your heart rates begin to synchronize. Your breathing patterns align. This is called neural coupling. If one person is calm, their grounded nervous system acts as an anchor for the other. It is a loan of safety. Imagine that you are drawing from a vast reservoir of collective calm. You can feel their slow pulse soothing your quick one. You feel the warmth of their palm telling your system that you're not isolated in the void. You're connected. In this connection, the burden of survival is shared. You do not have to carry the weight of your own existence entirely by yourself. You're held in the web of human connection, a safety net woven from the strongest fibre on earth, love. From this external connection, we turn our attention to the internal climate of your own organs. utilizing the ancient Taoist practice of the inner smile. We often think of smiling as a reaction to something funny, but the physical act of smiling changes the chemistry of your body. It is a cooling wind. Visualize a warm golden sun glowing in the center of your forehead. Now imagine directing the energy of that smile inward. Let it flow down your throat and smile into your heart. Visualize your heart not as a pump, but as a crimson flower opening to the sun. Thank it for beating. Now let that smiling energy flow down to your liver on the right side of your ribs. Smile into the liver. It works so hard to purify you. Imagine the tension in the organ dissolving, replaced by a sense of kindness. Move the smile to your stomach, your lungs, your kidneys. We rarely speak to our internal parts with kindness. We usually only notice them when they hurt. But tonight, you are bathing them in gratitude. You're changing the internal weather from overcast to sunny. This directed attention brings blood flow, relaxes the smooth muscles of the organs, and harmonizes the internal atmosphere. You're a benevolent monarch visiting the provinces of your own kingdom, bestowing a smile that brings peace to the land. Deep within the brain that orchestrates this smile, there are cells that were once thought to be mere filler, but are now known to be the masters of time. These are the astrocytes, the star cells. For decades, neurons got all the credit, but these star-shaped glial cells are the ones that control the flow of neurotransmitters and regulate the energy of the mind. Visualize a sky full of stars within your skull. These astrocytes have thousands of arms, reaching out to touch tens of thousands of synapses at once. They are the liquid network that connects the thoughts. Interestingly, these cells do not communicate with electricity, but with waves of calcium, slow oceanic tides of energy that wash through the brain. They operate on a much slower timescale than neurons. While a neuron fires in milliseconds, an astrocyte wave takes seconds or minutes. This is the rhythm of deep thought, of dreams, of sleep. Imagine these star cells slowly sweeping through your consciousness, coordinating the activity of the night. They are the night watchmen, the keepers of the slow rhythm. They ensure that your brain is not just a bundle of wires, but a galaxy of slow-moving intelligence. Trust in their slow calcium tides to wash you into the deepest, most restorative phases of sleep, far below the choppy surface of rapid thought. This slow coordination leads the body toward its ultimate goal, the fundamental law of all healing, homeostasis. This is the body's relentless, unyielding drive to find balance. It is the gyroscopic force of your biology. No matter how far you push the pendulum, through stress, through exertion, through illness, gravity will always pull it back to center. Visualize a thermostat in a quiet room. When the temperature rises, the cooling kicks in. When it drops, the warmth returns. Your body possesses millions of these sensors. Your blood pH, your fluid levels, your salt balance, your temperature. They are all being constantly, silently tweaked to perfection. You do not have to tell your heart how to beat or your blood how to clot. There is a wisdom within you that is older than your conscious mind. It is the wisdom that heals a paper cut without you issuing a single command. As you lie here, surrender to this force. Stop trying to fix yourself and simply allow your body to do what it has done every second of your life. Return to center. You're a self-correcting vessel. The return to health is not a mountain you have to climb. It is the valley you naturally roll into when you stop resisting. Gravity is on your side. Balance is your destiny. And as we settle into this perfect balance, we become aware of the warmth that is spreading through your limbs, a phenomenon known as autogenic warming. This is the sensation of the blood vessels in your hands and feet, gently dilating, releasing the heat held in your core. When we are stressed, the body hoards blood in the center, preparing for battle, leaving the extremities cold. But now, the battle is over. Repeat the phrase in your mind, soft and slow. My hands are warm and heavy. Visualize the gates of the arteries in your shoulders and thighs opening wide. A river of warm, nourishing blood flows effortlessly down your arms, pooling in your palms, warming your fingertips. It flows down your legs, warming your toes. This is the vasodilation of relaxation. It is a signal that your heart is pumping gently, that your pressure is lowering, and that it is safe to let your guard down. Feel the delicious heaviness that comes with this warmth. Your arms feel like heavy logs sinking into soft sand. Your legs are anchored to the earth. You are physically shifting your circulation from a state of high alert hoarding to a state of generous, flowing distribution. You are warm, you are heavy, and you are flowing, drifting deeper and deeper into the healing dark. From that sensation of a heavy, golden warmth spreading through your extremities, we drift upward again, returning to the silent, dark cathedral of the skull. We have spoken of the lymphatic river that cleanses the body, but for centuries it was believed the brain was cut off from this cleansing, an island unto itself. We now know of the glymphatic system, a miraculous hidden plumbing system that only opens its floodgates when you sleep. Visualize your brain not as a solid, static mass, but as a sponge. During the day, the cells are packed tight, buzzing with electricity and thought. But as you enter deep sleep, a physical transformation occurs. The glial cells, the support staff of your neurons, physically shrink. They contract by up to 60%, opening up wide channels between the cells. Imagine a dense forest suddenly parting to create wide flowing rivers. Cerebrospinal fluid, cool and clear, rushes into these spaces, washing through the tissue of your brain like a tide washing through a coral reef. It sweeps away the amyloid beta proteins, the metabolic ash left over from the fire of your day's thinking. This is why you wake up feeling clear. You have literally been washed. Visualize this cool fluid pulsing through your mind right now, a rhythmic hydraulic rinsing that polishes your memory and scrubs away the fog. You're not just resting, you're being purified, your mind preparing a pristine, clean slate for the sunrise. As the fluid pulses through the brain, it moves in time with the most vital drummer of all, the heart. But we look closer now, past the beat itself, to the silence between the beats. This is heart rate variability. We often think a healthy heart beats like a metronome, perfectly steady, tick, tick, tick. But in the language of healing, a metronome heart is a stressed heart, locked in a rigid march of survival. A healthy, resilient heart is like a jazz drummer. It is flexible, responsive, dancing with the breath. Visualize the space between your heartbeats as a flexible rubber band. When you inhale, the band stretches, the heart speeds up slightly. When you exhale, the band relaxes, the heart slows down. This variation is the sign of a nervous system that is agile, ready to jump into action or sink into rest at a moment's notice. It is the physics of resilience. As you lie here, breathing slowly, imagine you are stretching that silence. You are widening the gap between the beats. You're telling your heart that it does not need to march. It is free to sway. High variability means high vitality. Feel the luxury of that pause, the tiny, infinite moment of rest that happens 70 times a minute. A microscopic vacation that your heart takes with every single exhale. The rhythm of this flexible heart creates a sound, a frequency that resonates through your watery form. We drift now into the auditory landscape of healing, specifically to the spectrum of pink noise. You have heard of white noise, the static of a television, where every frequency is played at equal volume. It can be harsh, but nature does not play in white noise, she plays in pink. Pink noise is deeper. The lower frequencies are louder, and the higher, hissing frequencies are softer. This is the exact mathematical signature of rain falling on leaves, of wind moving through a pine forest, of the ocean tide rolling over sand. Your brain loves this sound because it mimics the frequency of your own brainwaves in deep sleep. It is a 1F signal, a fractal sound. Visualize a heavy, warm rain falling outside your window. The sound is not chaotic. It is a blanket of frequency that masks the sharp noises of the world. It reduces the difference between the background hum and sudden sounds, allowing your brain to stop scanning for danger. It occupies the auditory cortex with a soothing, consistent texture. As you imagine this sound, the deep, rushing hush of a waterfall, feel your brain waves slowing down to match it, in training to the ancient pink noise lullaby of the planet itself. Enveloped in this natural sound, we turn our awareness to the sixth sense you rely on every moment but rarely notice: proprioception. This is the body's ability to know where it is in space without looking. It is the internal map, the GPS of your limbs. Deep within your muscles, tendons, and joints, there are tiny sensors called muscle spindles and Golgi tendon organs. They are constantly sending telegrams to your cerebellum, reporting the tension, angle, and position of your body. In sleep, this sense shifts. When you lie still, fully supported by the bed, the need for these sensors to calculate gravity and balance disappears. Visualize the lights on this internal map slowly turning off, one by one. The signal from your right hand quiets. The signal from your left foot fades. Because you're not moving, your brain stops needing to calculate your coordinates. This leads to that profound, floaty sensation where you forget the boundaries of your own skin, where you feel larger than your body, or perhaps like a cloud of pure awareness. This dissociation is a sign of deep healing. It means the motor cortex is going offline. You're unhooking from the grid of physical space. Allow yourself to lose track of where your hands end and the bed begins. Drift into the formlessness, knowing that your body is safe, anchored by gravity, requiring no supervision from you to exist. This feeling of being anchored is deepened by the therapeutic principle of deep pressure stimulation. It is the biology of the swaddle. When gentle, distributed weight is applied to the body, like a heavy quilt, a weighted blanket, or a pile of sand, it triggers a specific physiological cascade. This pressure stimulates the mechanoreceptors deep in your dermis, sending a signal that overrides the sensation of anxiety. Visualize being buried in warm, dry sand on a tropical beach. The weight is heavy, pressing down on your chest, your legs, your arms. This compression does two things simultaneously. It boosts the production of dopamine and serotonin, the hormones of calm, and it drastically reduces cortisol, the hormone of stress. It is a physical containment. It mimics the safety of the womb. The pressure tells your autonomic nervous system that you are held, that you cannot fly away, and therefore you do not need to fight. Your boundaries are defined. Feel the imaginary weight of a heavy velvet blanket settling over you now. It presses the restlessness out of your muscles. It quiets the twitching. It holds you in a firm, loving embrace, turning the fight or flight switch firmly to the off position, leaving only the rest and digest mode humming in the silence. And within this embrace we find the specific alchemy of connection, governed by the 20-second rule. We have spoken of hugs and touch, but the duration is the key that unlocks the medicine. Science tells us that a fleeting hug, a quick pat on the back, is merely social. It does not penetrate the chemical barrier. To truly activate the healing response, a connection must be sustained. Visualize an embrace with a loved one, or simply imagining wrapping your arms around your own torso. Now hold it. 1, 2, 3. At first, it is just pressure, but as the seconds tick by, 10, 11, 12, something shifts. At the 20-second mark, the brain realizes this is not a threat, nor a passing gesture, but a secure attachment. It releases a flood of oxytocin. The heart rate sinks. The blood pressure drops. It is a biological threshold. It takes time for the chemistry of trust to brew. In this visualization, do not rush the contact. Linger in the sensation of warmth. Imagine holding on to a moment of safety and refusing to let go until the chemistry changes, until the tension melts into a puddle of trust. You're teaching your body that safety is not a fleeting glimpse, but a state of being you can inhabit, provided you stay long enough to let it in. From the warmth of touch, we move to the cooling, soothing power of light, specifically the wavelength of green light. While blue light wakes us up and red light stimulates mitochondria, green light, specifically narrow-band green light, has been found to be uniquely analgesic. It is the colour of the canopy, the colour of life. Visualize a soft emerald glow filling the room. Unlike other colours, green light generates the smallest electrical signal in the retina and the cortex. It is the quietest colour for your brain to process. It requires the least amount of energy. Studies show that bathing in this light can reduce the intensity of migraines and chronic pain by calming the thalamus, the brain's pain processing centre. It creates a visual lullaby. Imagine you are lying under a tree with the sun shining through millions of leaves, filtering the harsh white light into a soft, verdant bath. This green glow enters your eyes and tells your nervous system that you are in nature, surrounded by abundance and shelter. It creates a neural quietness. Let this imaginary green mist seep into your optic nerve, cooling the heat of any headache, soothing the strain of the screen-weary eyes, and washing your visual cortex in the gentle, healing frequency of the forest. As the visual cortex quiets down, the logical mind begins to loosen its grip, and we enter the surreal, fluid borderland known as hypnagogia. This is the twilight zone between wakefulness and sleep, a state that artists like Dali and Edison prized for its creativity. Here, the rigid rules of reality dissolve. You might see flashes of geometry, hear a snippet of a voice, or feel a sudden sensation of falling. Do not fear these sensations. They are the signpost of healing. In this state, your brain produces theta waves, the frequency of deep repair and emotional integration. It is here that the Tetris effect occurs. Your brain begins to replay and process the patterns of the day, but in a symbolic, abstract way. Visualize your thoughts turning into a fluid, colourful oil painting that is constantly moving. The logic of language falls away, replaced by the logic of images. You're entering the realm of the subconscious, where the deep cleaning happens. Allow yourself to float in this drift. If a strange image appears, a floating chair, a blue tiger, simply watch it pass like a fish in an aquarium. You're shedding the heavy coat of rationality. You're becoming a traveller in your own internal cosmos, surfing the theta waves toward the shores of the dream world. In this drifting state, we find that the body responds profoundly, not just to chemistry, but to meaning. We explore the placebo effect of ritual. We often dismiss placebo as fake, but it is actually the meaning response. It is the body's ability to heal itself because it believes it is being cared for. The act of preparing for sleep is, in itself, a medicine. Visualize the ritual you perform, or could perform, before bed. The washing of the face, the brushing of the teeth, the smoothing of the sheets. These are not just chores, they are liturgical acts of self-love. When you perform them with intention, you are sending a coded message to your immune system. I am worth caring for. I am safe. Visualize the simple act of drinking a cup of warm tea. Feel the heat of the mug, the smell of the chamomile. By focusing on the ritual, you activate the prefrontal cortex's expectation of relief. This expectation triggers the release of natural opioids and dopamine. The ritual becomes the trigger. You're the priest of your own temple, and every small act of care is a prayer that your body answers with a cascade of healing chemistry. You're not just going to sleep, you're enacting a ceremony of restoration. And finally, the ceremony concludes with the closing of the doors. We arrive at the psychological phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik effect, and its antidote, closure. The mind has a sticky tendency to hold on to unfinished tasks. Like open tabs on a browser, these uncompleted loops drain your battery, creating a background hum of anxiety. But you have the power to close them. Visualize your mind as a room full of open doors. Each door represents a task, a worry, a conversation left hanging. Now, in your mind's eye, walk to the first door, Acknowledge what is behind it, the email to send, the chore to do. Then, gently but firmly, close the door. Hear the latch click. Tell yourself, I have done enough for today. This can wait until the sun returns. Move to the next door, click, and the next, click. With every door you close, the draft in the room settles. The noise quiets. You're creating a boundary between the demands of the world and the sanctity of your rest. You're granting yourself permission to be finished. There is nothing left to solve in this moment. The list is paused. The tabs are closed. You're standing in the center of a quiet, warm hallway, where the only task left is to surrender to the peace you have built, brick by brick, breath by breath. With the doors of the day firmly closed and the hallway of your mind settling into a hallowed silence, we turn our attention to the secret activity that begins only when the master of the house has gone to rest. We speak now of the Midnight Architect, the release of human growth hormone. This is the body's most potent elixir of regeneration, a fountain of youth that flows most abundantly during the deepest phases of slow-wave sleep. Visualize this hormone not as a clinical substance, but as a golden, viscous mist being released from the pituitary gland, a tiny pearl at the base of your brain. It flows in pulses, like a slow, rhythmic tide. As this golden mist travels through your bloodstream, it acts as a master key, unlocking the repair protocols of your tissues. It visits the muscles you use today, stitching the microtears with stronger fibers. It travels to the skin, smoothing out the lines of expression, plumping the collagen, and tightening the weave of your physical form. This is the anabolic state, the building up that counters the breaking down of the day. In this deep rest, you're not merely dormant, you're under construction. Visualize millions of microscopic scaffolds being erected, where damage is undone and strength is forged. You're being rebuilt, stone by biological stone, into a temple that is newer and more resilient than the one that lay down to sleep. As this reconstruction takes place, the brain employs a specialized team of guards to ensure the work is not disturbed. These are the sleep spindles. If you were to look at the electrical activity of a sleeping brain, you would see sudden, rapid bursts of oscillating waves, like the sudden flutter of a hummingbird's wings. These are the sentinels of the thalamus, the gateway to your consciousness. Visualize your mind as a still, dark pond. The noises of the outside world, a car passing, a floorboard creaking, the wind against the glass, are like pebbles thrown into the water. In a waking state, these pebbles would create ripples that disturb the whole surface. But the sleep spindles are like a force field. When a noise attempts to reach your awareness, the brain fires this rapid burst of energy to cancel it out, to absorb the impact so the water remains glass smooth. It is a biological noise-cancelling system. Science shows that the more sleep spindles you generate, the sounder you sleep. Imagine these flickering shields activating around you, intercepting the sensory information that tries to intrude, wrapping you in a cocoon of unshakable privacy. They are the guardians of your peace, standing watch at the gates of perception, ensuring that the heavy doors you closed remain shut until you are ready to open them again. Behind those guarded gates, a massive cleanup operation is underway to remove the debris of consciousness itself. We turn to the molecule adenosine. Throughout the day, every time your neurons fired, every time you had a thought or moved a muscle, you burned energy, and the ash left behind was adenosine. As this ash builds up, it creates the sensation of sleep pressure, the heaviness behind the eyes, the gravity pulling you down. It is the chemical signal that you have done enough. Visualize this substance as fine, grey sand that has piled up in the gears of your mind. It is the physical weight of being awake. But now, as you drift into the silence, the tide turns. The clearance begins. Visualize a gentle, rhythmic wave washing over the shores of your brain. With every wash, the grey sand is lifted and carried away. The receptors that were clogged with this fatigue are being scrubbed clean. The pressure is dissolving. This is why we wake up feeling light. The sand has been swept back to sea. Feel the satisfaction of this clearing. The heaviness you feel right now is not a burden. It is simply the pile of sand waiting to be washed away. Surrender to the tide, knowing that by morning the beach will be pristine, the gears will be unencumbered, and the weight will be gone. As the mind clears, we travel down the vagus nerve to the solar center of the body, the celiac plexus, often called the solar plexus. This is a dense knot of nerves located just behind the stomach, radiating out like the rays of the sun. It is the emotional brain of the gut, the place where we feel the punch of anxiety or the butterflies of excitement. In the stress of the day, this knot tightens, pulling the internal organs inward, bracing for impact. Visualize this plexus as a golden flower that has curled its petals tight against the cold. But here, in the warmth of your bed, there is no need for bracing. Imagine a gentle, warm light shining directly into the center of your upper abdomen. Under this warmth, the knot begins to loosen. The tension that was holding your diaphragm hostage melts away. The nerves unspool, lengthening and relaxing. As this center opens, you might feel a gurgle of digestion or a sudden deepening of the breath. This is the digest and rest signal spreading through your core. You're untying the physical manifestation of worry. Allow your belly to become soft and round, rising and falling without restriction. The sun in your center is setting, its rays becoming soft and twilight dim, radiating a heat that soothes rather than burns, allowing your core to sink back into the support of the spine. Deep beneath the spine, beneath the floor, beneath the foundation of the building, there is a hum that connects us to the planet itself. This is the Schumann resonance. The Earth acts as a giant electromagnetic cavity, and lightning strikes across the globe cause this cavity to ring like a bell. The fundamental frequency of this ring is 7.83 Hz. It is the heartbeat of the world. Coincidentally, or perhaps by grand design, 7.83 Hz is also the frequency of the human brain's theta waves, the state of deep relaxation, drowsiness, and healing. We evolved inside this magnetic field. We are tuned to it. Visualize a massive silent drum beating deep within the Earth's molten core. It is a slow, steady pulse, grounding and ancient. When you're stressed, your internal frequency rises, becoming dissonant with the planet. But as you lie here, nearing the edge of sleep, your brainwaves slow down. You're coming back into tune. Visualize your own biorhythm syncing with that deep terrestrial thrum. You're entraining with the mother frequency. You're not floating in empty space. You're held by the magnetic embrace of the planet, vibrating in perfect harmony with the ground that supports you. You are home. Harmonized with the earth, we zoom into the most microscopic level of your being to witness the work of the great editor. This is the process of DNA repair, specifically nucleotide excision repair. Your DNA is the instruction manual for your life, but throughout the day, UV light, oxidation, and stress can cause typos in the script, tiny lesions or breaks in the code. If left uncorrected, these typos lead to aging and disease. But the night shift is the time for proofreading. Visualize a team of molecular scribes moving along the spiral staircases of your DNA. They carry lanterns of chemical light. They scan the code, looking for errors. When they find a damaged section, they do not panic. They simply snip it out and patch it with the correct sequence, using the opposite strand as a template. It is a miracle of self-correction happening billions of times while you dream. You are literally being rewritten. The errors of the past, the stress, the damage are being erased, and the original perfect blueprint is being restored. Trust in this invisible intelligence. You do not need to know how to fix yourself. The scribes are already at work ensuring that the story of your biology remains clear, strong, and true. While the scribes repair the code, the body's pantry is being restocked by the silent warehouse of the liver. We often think of the liver only as a detoxifier, but in the stillness of the night it performs a crucial act of nourishment called glycogen synthesis. The brain is a hungry organ. It demands fuel even when you sleep. To prevent you from waking up hungry, The liver condenses glucose into glycogen, storing it like packed energy bars for the long night ahead. Visualize the liver as a warm, dark reservoir on your right side. It is gathering the energy from your day and carefully packing it away. This storage process is soothing. It draws energy out of the blood and grounds it into solid matter. It stabilizes your blood sugar, ensuring a smooth, flat line of energy that sustains your sleep without spikes or crashes. It is the act of preparing for the future. By stocking the shelves now, your body ensures that you have the vitality to wake up and move. Feel a sense of gratitude for this silent organ, working in the dark, banking the fires of your metabolism so that they can burn bright when the sun returns, but allowing them to smoulder gently and safely for now. As the internal systems stabilize, the external frame engages a safety lock known as muscle atonia. This is the benevolent paralysis of sleep, to protect you from acting out the vivid adventures of your dreams, from running when you dream of running, or flying when you dream of flying. The brainstem sends a signal to disconnect the motor neurons. Visualize a heavy velvet curtain dropping between your mind and your muscles. The strings that control the puppet are gently laid down. Your arms become leaden. Your legs become carved of stone. This heaviness is not a trap. It is a seat belt. It is the ultimate sign of safety. It allows your mind to soar into the infinite realms of the dream time, while your body remains anchored, resting deeply in the harbour. If you feel that you cannot move, welcome it. It means the system is working. It means you are fully surrendered. The bridge to the waking world has been drawn up for the night, leaving you safe in the castle of rest, untethered from the demands of motion. In this castle, the mind is free to enter the theta state, a borderland frequency where the rigid boundaries of logic dissolve into the fluid landscape of creativity and emotional healing. This is the state of the hypnagogic trance. In theta, the brain is capable of hyperlearning and deep reprogramming. It is where the conscious and subconscious mind shake hands. Visualize a bridge made of mist connecting two cliffs. On one side is your waking self, with all its lists and rules. On the other is your deep self, the keeper of memories and intuition. As you walk across this bridge, the mist swirls around you. Here, you can rewrite the script. Affirmations spoken in this state sink like stones to the bottom of a well, resting deep in your psyche. Issues that seemed unsolvable during the day are turned over and inspected by the wisdom of the dream. This is the incubator. The problems you drifted off with are being steeped in the solution of your own intuition. You don't have to try to solve them. Just being in this frequency, floating in the theta mist, allows the answers to assemble themselves, ready to be found like sea glass on the shore when you wake. Finally, we drift beyond the bridge, beyond the body, beyond the frequencies, into the concept of the 0 point. In physics, this is the lowest possible energy state of a quantum mechanical physical system. In the journey of sleep, it is the moment of total cessation. It is the pause at the bottom of the exhale, extended into an eternity. Visualize a pendulum that has been swinging back and forth. Activity, rest, activity, rest. Now visualize it slowing down, the arc getting smaller and smaller until it comes to a perfect trembling stop in the center. This is the 0 point. There is no movement here. There is no becoming, only being. It is the eye of the storm. In this stillness, the energy that you usually spend on maintaining your identity, your posture, your thoughts, is returned to you. It pulls in your center. You're plugged into the universal socket. It is a void, but it is a fertile void. It is the black soil in winter from which all spring life emerges. Allow yourself to drop into this point of nothingness. You're not doing sleep. You are becoming silence. You're the empty cup waiting to be filled. You're the stillness between the stars, and in this perfect, motionless center, you are completely infinite and whole. From the center of that silent, fertile void, where the pendulum of effort has come to a perfect stop, a subtle chemistry begins to brew. It is a molecule synthesized in the quietest moments of your existence, named after the Sanskrit word for bliss, Ananda. We drift now into the warm embrace of anandamide. This is your body's own version of a comfort molecule, a lipid neurotransmitter that binds to the same receptors as the calming compounds found in cannabis, yet it is entirely produced by your own biology. Visualize this molecule not as a rush of intensity, but as a soft golden oil spreading across the surface of your anxious thoughts. It is the bliss molecule. Its primary function is to break the cycle of repetitive thinking, allowing you to forget the trivial worries of the day. It is the chemistry of letting go. Imagine it coating your nerves, dampening the sharp signals of stress and replacing them with a sense of floating well-being. It is often responsible for the runner's high, but it is also the dreamer's peace. As you lie here, safe and still, your brain is gently releasing this substance, dissolving the boundaries of your ego, softening the edges of your memories. It allows you to inhabit the present moment completely, unburdened by the past or the future. Feel this golden oil calming the waters of your mind, creating a smooth, reflective surface where the only thing that exists is the pure, chemically induced sensation that everything is fundamentally okay. As the bliss molecule softens the mind, another master agent is hard at work scrubbing the cellular floors. We turn our attention to glutathione, the master antioxidant of the human body. Unlike other vitamins we must eat, this is a protector that your body manufactures itself, a testament to your inherent ability to heal. It is a sticky, sulfur-rich molecule that acts like a microscopic magnet for toxins. Visualize your cells as bustling rooms that have accumulated the dust and smoke of the city, heavy metals, pollutants, and free radicals. Now, imagine glutathione moving through these rooms like a glowing white sponge. It moves through your liver, your lungs, and your bloodstream, attracting the debris that does not belong. The toxins stick to it instantly, trapped and neutralized. Once it has gathered the dust, it escorts it safely out of the body. This process happens most efficiently when you're asleep. It is a nightly purification ritual. Visualize this deep cleaning taking place within your liver right now. A silent, tireless scrubbing that leaves your cells sparkling and pristine. You do not need to direct it. Your body knows exactly where the shadows linger and sends this master cleaner to ensure that by morning, your internal environment is as fresh and clear as a mountain stream. Cleaned from within, we drift toward the left side of your abdomen, tucking ourselves under the protective cage of the ribs to visit the silent guardian known as the spleen. Often forgotten in our daily thoughts, the spleen is the unsung hero of your immune system and your blood's quality control manager. It is a deep red, spongy organ, a reservoir of life. Visualize the spleen as a quiet, dark sanctuary for your blood. As the red blood cells circulate, they must pass through the intricate lattice of the spleen. It is a gatekeeper. It gently inspects every cell. The old, the tired, and the damaged cells are recognized and respectfully retired, their iron recycled for new life. But the spleen is also a bank. It holds a reserve of fresh, oxygen-rich blood, ready to be released in a moment of need. In this state of deep rest, the spleen is calm, filtering the river of your life with a slow, rhythmic pulse. It is also the training ground for your immune cells, the barracks where your defenders learn to distinguish friend from foe, sending a wave of gratitude to this silent organ. Visualize it pulsing gently on your left side, a vigilant watchman that allows you to sleep soundly, knowing that your blood is being purified and your defenses are being sharpened without you lifting a finger. From the organ that filters the blood, we move to the invisible architecture that holds your entire form in space. We explore the concept of biotensegrity. For a long time, we thought the skeleton was like a stack of bricks, one bone resting heavily on another. But the truth is far lighter and more elegant. You're not a stack of bricks. You're a cloud of floating bones held in a web of tension. Visualize a sailboat's mast. It does not stand up because it is heavy. It stands because the wires, the rigging, pull on it equally from all sides. The mast floats. Your bones are the same. They float in the sea of your fascia and muscles. This is why you can bounce, twist, and absorb shock. You're a structure of continuous tension and discontinuous compression. As you lie on the bed, imagine the tension wires, your muscles and connective tissues, slackening just enough to let the bones settle, yet still holding them in perfect alignment. You're a masterpiece of suspension engineering. You're not fighting gravity, you're dancing with it. Feel the lightness of this truth. Your head is not heavy on your neck, it is floating. Your hips are not grinding into the sockets, they are suspended. In this visualization, you're a tensorgritty structure that has gone slack, a complex web resting on the earth, every tension balanced, every part supported by the whole. As the body's web settles, we turn our gaze to the eyes, not looking out, but looking at the chemistry of the dark. We discover rhodopsin, also known as visual purple. This is a pigment found in the rods of your retina, a biological substance that is incredibly sensitive to light. In the bright glare of the day, this pigment is bleached out, rendered transparent and useless. It cannot survive the sun. But here, in the soothing dimness of your room, a regeneration occurs. Visualize the back of your eyes. In the absence of bright photons, your body begins to reconstruct this purple pigment. It is the chemistry of night vision. It takes about 30 minutes of darkness for rhodopsin to fully regenerate. As it rebuilds, your sensitivity to light increases 1,000-fold. This is why the world looks so different, so soft and grey in the moonlight. You're switching to a different visual operating system. Visualize this cooling purple liquid filling the reservoirs of your eyes. It is a sign that you have successfully transitioned away from the harsh demands of the waking world. You're becoming a creature of the shadow, adapted for the soft, the subtle, and the dim. Let your eyes drink in the darkness, knowing that with every moment of blackness, you're restoring the delicate chemicals that allow you to see the stars. The breath that flows through you now is guided by a singular golden thread of a nerve, originating in the neck and reaching down to the core. This is the phrenic nerve. It is the exclusive telephone line to your diaphragm, the primary muscle of respiration. The ancient Greeks believed the diaphragm was the seat of the soul, and they named this nerve phrenic from the word phren, meaning mind or heart. Visualize this twin nerve running down from your cervical spine, passing between the heart and the lungs, like two reins held by a gentle rider. It controls the rhythm of your life. When you are stressed, the signal on this line is jagged and fast. But now, visualize a slow, coherent signal traveling down the wire. It is a lullaby sent from the brainstem to the belly. Soft, slow, deep. With each signal, the diaphragm bows down, drawing air into the deepest lobes of the lungs, and then releases, springing back up effortlessly. This nerve is the bridge between the voluntary and the involuntary. You can control it, but right now, you're handing the reins over to the automatic wisdom of the body. Trust the phrenic nerve to pilot your breath through the night. It will not falter. It keeps the rhythm of the soul beating steadily, a constant unseen conductor leading the orchestra of your respiration. Deep within the chest, warmed by the breath, lies a hidden source of heat that challenges our understanding of biology. We drift to the concept of brown adipose tissue, or brown fat. Unlike the white fat that stores energy, brown fat is a furnace. It is packed with mitochondria, which are rich in iron, giving it a rusty, reddish-brown colour. Its sole purpose is thermogenesis, to create heat. Visualize these deposits of brown fat located around your collarbones, your neck, and your spine. They are like small internal campfires. When the body cools down for sleep, these fires gently glow. They burn the white fat to generate a cozy, radiating warmth that protects your vital organs. It is the hibernation tissue, the same tissue that keeps a bear warm through the winter, As you feel the coolness of the sheets, imagine these internal hearths flickering to life. They generate a golden warmth that radiates from your neck down your spine, wrapping your heart and lungs in a thermal blanket. You do not need to shiver. You have your own internal heating system. Feel this self-generated heat rising to meet your skin, a reminder that you carry the fire of life within you, capable of keeping the cold at bay through the longest, darkest night. From the heat of the body, we turn our listening inward, tuning into the sense of interoception. We have 5 senses that face outward: sight, sound, touch, taste, smell. But interoception is the sense that faces inward. It is the ability to feel the beat of your heart, the rumble of your stomach, the heaviness of your eyelids. It is the conversation you have with yourself. In the noise of the day, this voice is drowned out. We ignore the thirst, the fatigue, the tension. But in the silence of the night, the volume is turned up. Visualize yourself putting a stethoscope to your own being. What do you hear? This is not a judgment. It is check-in. You might feel a gentle pulsing in your fingertips. You might feel the warmth of the liver we spoke of. This heightened awareness is a form of intimacy. By listening to the subtle signals of your body, you are validating its existence. You're telling your soma, I hear you, I am here with you. This conscious acknowledgement reduces the body's need to scream for attention with pain or anxiety. It creates a feedback loop of trust. Sink into the sensation of simply being a body, observing the magnificent, quiet machinery of your own life humming in the dark. This internal listening triggers a specific physiological switch, a turning point known as the relaxation response. Coined by Dr. Herbert Benson, this is the scientific opposite of the fight-or-flight response. It is not just relaxing in a casual sense, it is a measurable state of hypermetabolism. Visualize a master switch on the wall of your mind. For most of the day, the switch was flipped up to action. The engine was revving, but now, with your slow breath and your soft gaze, you're pulling the heavy lever down. Clunk. The lights dim. The hum of the engine drops an octave. Oxygen consumption decreases. Carbon dioxide elimination decreases. Your body stops preparing for a future threat and settles completely into the present safety. This is a biological reclaiming of energy. When the relaxation response is active, your body produces nitric oxide, opening up the pathways we visualized earlier. It is the all-clear siren. Feel the profound shift as your biology obeys the lever. The urgency evaporates. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do, and nothing to solve. You have manually engaged the machinery of peace, and the factory of stress has shut down for the night. Finally, we arrive at the ancient philosophy that governs this state of perfect low-energy flow, the concept of Wu Wei, or effortless action. In biology, this is the law of least effort. Nature never rushes, yet everything gets accomplished. The grass does not strain to grow, the river does not struggle to flow to the sea. They simply follow the path of least resistance. Your body wants to follow this same law. Healing is not a task you perform, it is a natural process that happens when you stop interfering. Visualize a leaf floating down a gentle river. The leaf does not swim, it does not steer, it trusts the current entirely. You are that leaf. The current is your sleep. Often, we try to force ourselves to sleep, or we try to heal. But Wu Wei teaches us to surrender the trying. The heart beats without your command. The cells divide without your supervision. The breath rises and falls without your effort. As you lie here, give up the role of the general. Resign from the job of managing your own existence for a few hours. Let the river take you. Allow the gravity to hold you. Allow the sleep to come to you, not because you chased it, but because you became still enough for it to catch you. You are entering the zone of effortless being, where the greatest work is done by doing absolutely nothing at all. In that state of effortless action, where the leaf surrenders to the current, we discover that the fluid dynamics of your own blood mirror the physics of a tranquil river. We drift now into the phenomenon of laminar flow. In the waking world, when stress constricts the arteries and the heart races, the blood moves in a turbulent, chaotic fashion, like rapids crashing against rocks. This turbulence creates friction, noise, and wear on the vessel walls. But here, in the deep calm of the wu-wei state, the river of your life changes. Visualize the blood moving through your veins in perfect parallel layers. The center of the stream moves fastest, while the outer layers glide silently against the vessel walls with almost zero friction. This is the definition of laminar flow: smooth, streamlined, and silent. Imagine liquid glass flowing through a tube. There is no mixing, no swirling, no chaos. It is the most energy-efficient way for fluid to travel. As your heart rate slows and your vessels dilate in the warmth of your relaxation, you are physically converting your circulation from a chaotic storm into a silent sliding glide. The heart no longer has to push, the blood simply slides. Feel this frictionless movement in your arms and legs, a silent, oily smoothness that nourishes every cell without making a sound, feeding the shores of your body with the effortless grace of a calm, deep tide. As the blood flows smoothly, it brings hydration to the very pillar of your being, allowing for a nightly transformation known as spinal decompression. Throughout the long day, the relentless pull of gravity has been compressing your spine, squeezing the fluid out of the soft gel-like discs between your vertebrae, making you literally shorter by the time you go to bed. You have been carrying the weight of the sky on your shoulders, but now, lying horizontal, you have escaped the tyranny of verticality. Gravity no longer pushes you down, it holds you across. Visualize the 23 discs in your spine as dry sponges soaking in a pool of water. In this horizontal position, they begin to drink. They absorb the nutrient-rich fluid from the surrounding tissues, swelling back up to their full, plump potential. Watch, in your mind's eye, the space between your vertebrae widening. You are physically growing. The nerve roots, which may have been pinched or crowded during the day, are given generous room to breathe. The tightness in the lower back dissolves as the structure elongates. You're being stretched by the gentle hands of rest, regaining your stature, preparing to rise tomorrow standing taller, prouder, and more flexible than you were today. While your spine expands, a profound quieting occurs in the headquarters of your identity. We enter the neuroscience of the default mode network, DMN. This is a web of brain regions that is active when you're thinking about yourself, your past, your future, your worries, your story. It is the narrator that never stops talking, the I that is always planning. But deep healing requires a break from the self. As you sink towards sleep, the activity in this network begins to fade. Visualize a theatre where the play has ended. The actor who plays you, the one with the name, the job, the responsibilities, bows and walks off the stage. The spotlight dims. The theatre goes dark and silent. You're no longer defined by your history or your to-do list. You simply are. This is a state of pure existence, unburdened by the narrative of the ego. It is a relief to put down the heavy costume of your personality for a while. Without the constant chatter of the DMN, your brain's energy is redirected from maintaining your identity to maintaining your biology. You are free from the story, floating in the peaceful void of pure awareness, where there is no one to be and nothing to prove. In this egoless void, the body begins to seek a new thermal equilibrium. We explore the essential core temperature drop. We often associate sleep with warmth, cozy blankets and fires, but biologically sleep is a cooling process. For the brain to initiate the deepest phases of repair, the core body temperature must drop by about 2 to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. Visualize your body as a mountain. The peak, your core, must cool down for the snows of sleep to settle. To achieve this, your body performs a clever trick. It sends its heat to the periphery. This is why we felt the warmth in the hands and feet earlier. You're venting the heat from the engine room out through the windows. Imagine a cool, refreshing breeze blowing through the centre of your chest and abdomen. It is the temperature of a stone deep inside a cave, cool, stable, and preserved. This internal cooling slows down your metabolic rate, preserving your enzymes and slowing the ticking of the cellular clock. It is a state of hibernation. Welcome this subtle chill in your centre. It is the signal that the fires of metabolism are banking down, preserving your fuel, turning the thermostat down to the restore setting. As the body cools, it aligns itself with invisible forces that crisscross the globe. We drift to the concept of magnetoreception. It was once thought that humans were blind to the Earth's magnetic field, but we now know that our ethmoid bone, located between the eyes and the nose, contains millions of tiny crystals of magnetite, a magnetic mineral. We are, in a subtle sense, living compasses. Visualize these microscopic crystals floating in the fluid of your cells. Throughout the chaotic movement of the day, they are shaken and scattered. But in the stillness of the night, they have the chance to align. Imagine a gentle, invisible tug from the north, a line of force that runs through the planet and through you. It is a grounding cord. While we may not consciously feel it, our biology senses this connection to the planetary grid. Some studies suggest that being aligned with the Earth's field promotes deeper REM sleep. Whether you face north or south, simply visualize your internal compass settling. The needle stops spinning. You're locked into the stability of the Earth itself. You're not a wanderer lost in the dark. You're anchored to the poles of the planet, held in place by the same forces that guide the migration of whales and the flight of birds. Deep within this aligned state, a chemical unlatching is taking place in your muscles, facilitated by the element magnesium. This mineral is the spark of relaxation. In the chemistry of movement, calcium is the hardener. It rushes into muscle cells to make them contract and grip. Magnesium is the liberator. It rushes in to push the calcium out and tell the muscle to let go. Visualize your muscles as a series of clenched fists. Now, imagine a silvery, shimmering mist of magnesium flowing through your bloodstream. Wherever this mist touches a knot, a cramp, or a tight fibre, it gently pries the fingers open. It displaces the calcium, the grip of the day. It is the chemical equivalent of a long exhale. It quiets the nerves that are overfiring. Imagine this mineral bathing your heart muscle, keeping its rhythm steady and soft. It settles in the heavy muscles of your thighs and the tight muscles of your jaw. It is the great softener. Feel the physical sensation of ungripping spreading through you, as if every fibre is dissolving into a liquid state, lubricated by this essential metallic peace. As the muscles soften, the world around you begins to fade, not because the sound has stopped, but because of the stapedius reflex. Inside your middle ear lies the smallest skeletal muscle in the human body, the stapedius. Its job is to stabilize the stapes bone, the tiny stirrup that transmits sound vibrations to your inner ear. When we are alert, this muscle is taut, tuned to pick up the faintest snap of a twig or whisper of a threat. But as you drift towards sleep, the brain sends a signal to this tiny guardian to stand down. Visualize the muscle relaxing. As it loosens, the tension on the eardrum changes. The volume of the world is turned down. The hum of the refrigerator, the traffic outside, the wind, they do not cease, but they retreat into the background. They become muffled and distant, wrapped in cotton. You are physically disconnecting the audio cables of the waking world. You are entering a soundproof chamber of your own making. The only sound that matters now is the rhythmic tide of your own breath and the slow, steady drum of your heart. The external world has lost its voice, leaving you in the luxurious quiet of the inner sanctuary. In this quiet sanctuary, a librarian begins the night's work of memory consolidation. During the day, your experiences are stored in the hippocampus, a temporary loading dock for information. It is fragile and limited in space. If you do not sleep, these memories dissolve like ink in rain. But tonight, a transfer begins. Visualize the hippocampus as a busy desk covered in scattered papers. The faces you saw, the facts you learned, the moments you felt. Now, imagine a gentle pneumatic tube system activating. One by one, the important papers are lifted from the desk and sent up to the neocortex, the brain's permanent library. Here, they are filed away into the rich tapestry of your long-term knowledge. They are connected to what you already know, turning raw experience into wisdom. This process clears the desk. It creates open space for tomorrow's learning. You're not just remembering, you are learning. You're weaving the threads of today into the quilt of who you are. Feel the satisfaction of an empty desk, a clear mind, knowing that nothing precious will be lost. It is simply being moved to the vault for safekeeping. The rhythm of this transfer is governed by the deepest, slowest pulses the brain can produce, delta waves. We have slowed from the buzz of beta, through the relaxation of alpha, past the dreaminess of theta, and now we approach the bedrock of sleep. Delta waves are massive, slow-rolling swells of electrical activity, occurring only 0.5 to 4 times per second. Visualize the ocean in the middle of the Pacific. No choppy waves, no white caps, just the slow, heaving rise and fall of the entire body of water. This is delta. When your brain produces these waves, you are completely unconscious, but you're also most alive. This is where the profound physical healing happens. The peaks and troughs of these waves are high and deep. Imagine yourself floating on this massive swell, up and down, slow and deep. These waves synchronize the firing of billions of neurons, creating a period of silence between the bursts of activity. It is in these silences that the brain rests. Let your consciousness dissolve into this heavy, rhythmic motion. You're becoming the deep ocean, moving with the slow, geologic time of the earth, far beneath the storms of surface thought. And finally, as you ride these deep waves, your body engages in the ultimate act of trust, the vigilance decrement. For a prehistoric human, sleep was dangerous. It meant being vulnerable to predators. Therefore, a part of the brain always stayed on, scanning for threats. This is hypervigilance. But in this safe space, surrounded by walls and warmth, you can voluntarily lower the watchtower. Visualize a guard standing on the ramparts of a castle. He has been watching the horizon for 16 hours. Now you walk up to him, place a hand on his shoulder and say, "At ease." The guard lowers his spear, he sits down, the torch is extinguished, the drawbridge is raised. You're enacting a biological ceasefire. You're telling your amygdala, the brain's alarm bell, that there is no tiger, there is no storm, and there is no war. The silence is safe. Feel the profound relief that comes with laying down your weapon. The need to scan, to predict, to worry is gone. You're safe in the burrow, hidden from the eyes of the world, protected by the heavy, comforting blanket of the night, free to drift into the deepest, most defenseless, and most restorative peace of all. And finally, having laid down your weapons and silenced the watchtower, we arrive at the ultimate truth, the secret that binds all the other wonders together. We discover the law of inherent wholeness. It is the profound realization that healing is not an invention of medicine, nor a struggle of the will. It is the fundamental gravitational pull of the universe itself. Science calls this entropy. The drive of life to create order out of chaos, to build complexity out of dust, to knit together what has been torn. Visualize a golden blueprint glowing in the center of your being. This is the memory of your perfection. No matter what scars you carry, no matter how tired the mind or how weary the bones, this blueprint remains untouched, unblemished, and complete. It is the original template of you. Every cut that closes, every bone that mends, every heart that recovers from grief is simply your biology, obeying the command of this blueprint to return to its original state. You do not have to teach your skin how to close a wound. It remembers. You do not have to teach your heart how to beat. It knows. Healing, then, is not something you go out and find. It is something you fall back into. It is the default setting of existence. The entire cosmos is conspired to keep you alive and whole. The sun feeds you, the air fills you, the water cleanses you, and the sleep restores you. You are the inevitable result of a universe that loves life. As you lie here, realize that you're not a broken thing trying to be fixed. You are a whole thing that is temporarily healing. The health you seek is already there, waiting beneath the surface noise, like the blue sky waiting behind the clouds. It is your birthright. It is the undeniable truth that your nature is to be well, and tonight, with every breath, you are simply allowing the current of life to carry you back to that perfect golden center where you have always belonged. The river of knowledge has now widened. The banks have disappeared. The trees, the mountains, and the winding paths of our journey have faded into the distance behind you. You have drifted out of the stream and into the vast, boundless ocean of sleep. The water here is still, dark and warm, stretching out to an horizon that has no end. There is no longer any need to paddle, no need to steer, no need to hold onto the raft. The raft dissolves into mist and you're left floating, weightless, suspended in the velvet deep. Feel the knowledge you have gathered settling into your bones, not as facts to be remembered, but as a heavy, comforting blanket of wisdom. You know enough. You have done enough. You are enough. The library of the mind is closing its doors. The lights are dimming, one by one. The whispers of the day are silenced by the gentle lapping of the eternal tide. There is only the slow, rhythmic rise and fall of your chest, mirroring the slow, rhythmic swelling of the sea. Drift deeper now, sinking down through the layers of blue, down through the layers of indigo into the soft, protective black. Here, in the silence, gravity holds you close. The stars above are watching, but they are far away. You're safe in the hold of the earth. Let the heaviness take your limbs. Let the softness take your thoughts. Everything is slowing down. The breath is long and slow. The heart is quiet and steady. The mind is empty and free. You are returning to the source. You are merging with the peace that has been waiting for you all along. And now, 101 wonders are resting with you. Sleep now. Good night.